three stages to this game. You play, you compete, and lethal.
Steps into it, pass is caught. Diggs, sideline, touchdown, unbelievable. Deshaun Jackson gets a block. Are you kidding?
All day, looking deep for Hollywood Brown again. He's got it. Brown off to the races, and he stays on his feet. Touchdown.
For overtime. Parker's clock is blocked. It's picked up by the Titans. This game is over. Second down in the air and picked off by Brad. Will he get it here? Yes.
Welcome to episode 3 of the 3-Man Draft. We are back again, only 1 week later from the last episode. We hope you enjoyed it last time. We're going to give you some latest news. It's been me here with Hampo, Reese.
Hello, how are we all? Hope everyone's good, everyone's staying safe.
Staying safe, same old news. Hopefully that changes. I'm so bored of it.
Two, 3 weeks away, we'll be back.
So I hope so. It's just,
The world will be back
it's
strong.
just masks and
We can
safe.
we can dream.
I can't wait till the pubs are open.
I'll record this in the pub. We record this in the pub. Get a table.
Yeah, but then they'll be like, well, these 3 geezers in the corner just with 3 mics, 3 computers, just sat there.
I'm up for that, but you have quality.
Yeah, but then you have so much background noise. Anyway, I digress. We've got some cool stuff here today. We've got a sort of a repeat from last week, but a nice special. Some good feedback on it, so we're going to do that again. We've got a new feature, which I think a lot of people should enjoy. It's quite interactive. I want to hear your thoughts as well, if you can put it on Instagram, whatever you want to do. And also, we have got the latest news and breaking news in the last hour when I was getting ready to put this podcast together. Kenny Golladay has just signed with the New York Giants. Now, we put him in the bin last week, so I'm glad he's managed to find his way out of the bin and get off to New York.
It's pie on our face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we binned him off, but he's managed to make his way out of a bin on a plane and is now in Manhattan. What we got on that, Reece? I think you got some stats on what the contract is and all that kind of stuff.
I'd just like to say that I didn't bin Kenny Golladay, but in news of his contract, so $72 million deal over 4 years, $40 million of guaranteed money for him.
Jesus.
Leaving Detroit Lions in this free agency, one of the big moves that we've seen. It was tipped up as one of the last remaining big free agents that's gone on in this last week or so. So
he was tipped for the Ravens as well, and we really need an experienced wide receiver, so it's another one we've missed.
I bet he's happy to be leaving the Detroit Lions, though.
Yeah, well, so there was questions in his...
being traded. Sorry.
There was questions about him leaving from the teams that apparently he's spoken to, whether he was the reason behind the shaky relationship with the coach at the Lions, with Matt Patricia, who was obviously fired, and the fact that he had a hip injury, missed the last half of the season, I think, last 8 or 9 games of 2020. So there was a bit of concern there, but apparently it was an all-day meeting with the Giants that's gone well in his favour.
Matt is a baller. I think he'll do bits in New York. I think they need him, really. I don't really feel like they've filled the void since OBJ left, to be completely honest.
He's a completely different player, but yeah, they're missing that wide receiver one. Almost that.
Just a weapon that they can at least make a play on. You know?
I quite like Dan Jones up there as well. I actually do. I think he's. I mean, again, he's very traditional quarterback, but I do like him up there, and he's
I think
actually
he's very
bizarrely
Eli
quick.
Manning. Kind of. You know what I mean? I think Giants have a set quarterback that they like to have.
He's the Eli Manning mould. It's almost like Eli Manning was sat there when they were like, "Oh, we want to draft a new QB to replace him."
They don't even look
I've made him
really, do they?
I mean, in his last full season, 2019 was Pro Bowl, 1,190 yards. So he's
nothing to be sniffed at.
He's got
from
talent,
Giants fans.
exactly.
And we put him in the bin.
And he was a 3rd round pick as well.
So he gets a golden bin from us, and then a week later, he gets paid. So.
Well, I think this golden bin, these golden wheelie bins, I think the smoke's going to
What do you think, Instagram? Is that a hit? I reckon it should be.
Oh, yeah, I mean, to be fair, going back to Mr. Golladay and his Golden Bin Award, you'll be pleased to hear one of his reasons is Jared Goff. He was saying he'd only stay if Matt Stafford was still there.
Oh, wow.
Can't blame him.
He's
so a bad quarterback when he sees one.
You want to take him out the bin now he agrees with you?
Yeah.
There's so much shit being spoke about those two, their teammates. So the funniest one I saw recently was the Rams player, I think Michael Brockers, was saying when Stafford was traded to the Rams, he was like, yeah, but he's by far better than Goff. And then guess where he gets traded like a week later? Detroit Lions.
awkward combo.
Yeah, so there's not much good news for Jared Goff right now.
Very
But we're
happy
going
to be in that dressing room when the first meeting happens.
Yeah, it's like don't like you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good news for Kenny Golladay, really.
Happy for him to be
4
fair.
years. That's a pretty decent contract. You'd expect to get like 1 year or something like that. But yeah, good news. He's no longer
The Big Apple.
He's forever in our bin. But we'll worry about that at the end of the year when we've got this
I'm
ultimate
sure he
bin
won't
team.
lose sleep.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
we have got a wild card. If he has a good year, someone might pick him as a wild card out of the bin.
That's very true.
I hope he doesn't have a good year being in the same conference as us. But, you know.
Second on the hit list with the news. Obviously, we spoke about free agency last week. It was sort of just opening, the beginning of it. We mentioned a few players and stuff. Well, it turns out the New England Patriots have effectively just gone on Amazon and bought everybody.
Yeah, they've just bought the free agency.
Yeah, they've just gone, we're just going to have him. Do you want him? Yeah, why not? We'll have him.
But let's be real, I think they really needed to strengthen on the season they had last year.
10 free agents, though. That's in very quick succession.
That was
I believe they spent
2-3 days?
137.5 million in guaranteed money over the last 2 days.
They have
On free agents.
A lot of room, didn't they?
Yeah,
Big amount of
but
room.
yeah, that's a statement if I've ever seen one, really.
Yeah, I mean, you hope that
After on the back of re-signing Cam, so they obviously see something in him, and now he's got a few more weapons.
What was Cam's contract again?
I think it's only a year, wasn't it? Another year.
Like, it was only a year. That's
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
believe.
yeah,
they gave
another
him.
year.
That's still not. That's still that contract where we're not
I still
entrusting you.
I still
yet.
believe they'll draft for a QB. I do.
Oh yeah,
We're
they're building.
waiting to find our franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 10 free agents, and the big ones. I've just seen the thing that you mentioned to me. It even says on that
Aguilar.
Patriots' own website, pronounced Ag-Law.
Just in case you don't know how to pronounce
Matt Judon
Aguilar.
as well. It's pronounced Judon.
But in capitals, JOO-DON small. So yeah, wide receiver Nelson Ag-Law.
There's two wide receivers there, isn't there?
And Kendrick Bourne. Defensive back Cody Davis. That's a decent one. And yeah, linebacker Matt Judon.
Didn't play anywhere special, did he?
Yeah, he did. He played for.
Johnny Smith, how you feeling, Reece?
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm upset.
We're an ex-Titan.
He would. Do you know what? We had 2 free agents go that I think may come back to haunt us.
Yeah.
Johnny
Davis being
at tight
gone.
end and wide receiver Corey Davis.
Yeah, that's a big loss.
Especially the fact he's gone to the Jets. I want to say it's a step down.
At the moment.
But I mean,
Yeah.
it is at the moment. But yeah, I want to say it's a step down maybe. But wish him well. Hopefully we can replace, and at the minute we've got 1 wide receiver, and that is it. So
Yeah, don't worry, mate. We're in a pretty weird shape as well. I think we've got 3 wide receivers, and they're all under the age of 24, and none of them have had a season that's over 800 yards.
Thing is though, at the Baltimore Ravens, obviously he's a good franchise and they've got a promising team, but I just don't think I'd want to be a wide receiver on that team.
No,
Don't get me wrong, obviously I'm not saying Lamar can't throw the ball because he shows that he can, but I just think half the time you'd be making a run down the field and you'd be like, he's probably going to run it here. Or if they set up in the huddle before, you're like, I don't even want to make a run downfield. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I suppose if you've got a quarterback like Lamar who's just
he can
enigma,
throw.
Yeah,
he can.
but
He really can. But
he's probably faster than some wide receivers in the league, and probably put defenders on their ass more than most wide receivers probably could. So you can't blame him really. But yeah.
Going back to your Titans, I think I was saying to you earlier that unless they get a wide receiver somewhere in the draft,
it's going to be run.
It's going to be
run, and then a couple of throws to AJ Brown.
It's just going to be the Derrick Henry show again.
I mean, talking of wide receivers, and one that I would have loved, and I'm sure one that you would have loved, Jonesy, is Mr. Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yes.
Taking a big pay cut.
Yeah, and only a 1-year deal. You can tell that he just wanted to stay there. That's what it was. And I think, I don't know how true it was, but I was looking earlier and it said that it was the 3rd lowest offer that he had. I don't know what the cut was, but it is quite the cut.
Substantial, I believe, compared to what his... Because wasn't he close to a max contract before, and they've just completely...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's
crazy, really.
Brilliant player, to be fair. I think it's a great thing for the Steelers. I think.
To
be fair, I was shocked. I genuinely thought that he would just chase the money. You could go somewhere that would pay you exactly the same money as
deserve
before.
it almost, didn't he?
Yeah, he could pay you exactly the same as before, if not more. But yeah, might just play for a slightly shitter team. But I mean, he was linked to us for
It's
a bit.
a 1 year, $8 million deal. $8 million deal. I mean, yeah,
I think he just wanted to stay home.
Yeah.
He's a Pittsburgh boy. I believe he just wanted to be at home. Obviously, they've got it all right at Pittsburgh. Obviously, Ben's got another year, but probably one of his last, if not his last. But they've got Claypool. They've got some good weapons there.
I suppose you'd call it a prove it deal, really, wouldn't you? Because he's the onus is now on him to go out and there was a bit of bad press maybe about his
TikTok
phenomenon
dance
for TikTok.
Yeah,
that it seemed he was
on
more
the logos.
he was more concentrated. Not so. For me, not even bothered on. It was on the logos. Like there was the whole Ravens Titans debacle about logos. But
Because we played them, and then we intercepted. I think it was a pick six, or it was either pick six or just an interception. And
he sort of danced on the.
and then the whole team danced on the
the
Steelers logo.
No, Titans logo on ours logo, yeah.
I'm thinking the wrong thing, aren't I?
Yeah,
That's
no,
Titans.
you come to our logo and
because that was different. Sorry, I'm getting confused there,
two,
because that was
yeah.
because the Titans had
done a team huddle,
on the Ravens. Sorry, I'm getting confused, but yeah.
There was everywhere, but logos were massive everywhere. And this thing with Juju, it seemed that he was, almost trying to arc a celebrity rather than
fixated on doing,
rather than concentrate on the football, which I get. At the point of how the Steelers were 11-0, you could probably get away with it.
Almost got to the head though.
However, the fact that they then flopped big time, almost you can't get away with it. If you win the Super Bowl,
that makes it almost not even almost. It makes it worse.
Yeah, of course it does.
It's not like they won it on them, like got to the Super Bowl, didn't win, or won the Super Bowl. Then it's a bit like fair play, but they dropped off big.
Yeah, if they had a little drop in and they carried on and were first seed, then if you're number one seed, okay, again arguably you get away with it. But for them, it's not. I mean. Yeah, if he proves himself and goes back and does it, otherwise I think he's taking a risk as well, because there are a lot of teams that wanted him and were willing to pay him more for longer. If he has a second season of not so positive displays, is he going to get the same offers that he's had this year? I'd arguably say no. We know he's got a good stock with him, but
talent's there. It just needs to. I think sometimes he just needs his head screwed on a little bit more.
For the Steelers as well, it's and Big Ben. I think it's his last chance to get that. I think he's. If he'd won the Super Bowl this year, he would have died.
Oh yeah,
100%.
And I believe Juju probably would have left as well. I believe. I know obviously he's a Pittsburgh boy, but knowing, like I said earlier, that they've got something good there and they potentially could make another run for it this year, because I don't believe they've lost many players. They're probably only going to add. They feel like they could probably go again. Maybe not as good, but who knows?
I mean, you're making this a different for us. Making this the wide receiver show, which is what it become.
Yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying it.
A TMD favourite, Joe Burrow, lost his wide receiver, AJ Green.
Yeah.
He was at the Bengals for 10 years, and he's now gone to Arizona.
Yeah,
Cardinals.
To be fair,
another weapon for Kyler.
Yeah. If I was going to go anywhere right now, the Cardinals are one of those teams. I'd be like,
the dark
I'm up
horse
for
of
that.
this season coming.
It's another one. It's 1 year contracts again. 1 year contract.
I think it's just because of the cap space. I believe. I think he probably would have, and I believe Juju probably would have got more, but it's probably the money they're demanding. It's just, and obviously the things that the players they've signed, they just don't want to sort of give them bigger contracts in the current climate.
Well, they don't know next year the cap
could drop again.
Could drop again.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think they were all expecting. If you went back 2 years, I think most teams would be, because the cap has actually gone up every year, like by a little bit every year. And I think this was the first year that it's gone down, and everyone just naturally thinks it's going to go up. And I think it took a lot of teams by surprise. Like, oh shit, we're actually going to.
I mean, say Cardinals dark horses there. Well, they've made some big signings to amongst a talented line that they've already got. So defensive side, JJ Watt coming
little
in.
Kyler Murray.
I
expect big things from him and
D-Hop.
that team. D-Hop.
AJ Green now. We've got Christian Kirk.
Larry
Fitzgerald's a free agent now, isn't he?
Oh, is he?
I believe so.
Yeah, he's a free agent. Whether or not he will still sign for the Cardinals again, I don't know if you want to check that's what I've just said is right, Reese, but I'm pretty sure Fitzgerald is.
As of 1 day ago, still uncertain about future.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, imagine if he did resign. Okay, now
it's another weapon.
It's another one. Yeah.
Let's be honest, he's got to be in GOAT contention. So yeah.
The rumours of him potentially returning to Minnesota are bouncing about everywhere.
Minnesota. God, we've not really spoken about them at all, have we?
Garbage franchise.
Do you know what? See, I don't know. I'm not. I don't love them, but I'm not against them at all.
See, for me, it goes back to the quarterbacks. I'm not a fan of Kirk Cousins. I didn't like him at Washington, not because he was a rival in the same division. He's another Jared Goff. Not as bad. I don't hate him as much, but you know when you just watch your quarterback and you're sort of like, you don't really bring anything.
No.
You just don't. I don't know. Kirk Cousins just another one of them for me.
Yeah, it is a fun fact. When I was creating the intro for this show, I wanted to find like a really like, hype up moment.
Yeah.
And I was searching through clips I could find, and the one that kept coming up was a Kirk Cousins one. Now, don't get me wrong, it sounded great, but I was like, I cannot have Kirk Cousins. No. I was like, I can't have Kirk Cousins building up in our show. And I was like, yeah, it sounds all right, but I think he did it once.
Also Kirk Cousins.
It's Kirk Cousins. It's just...
The Vikings had a good wide receiver pair at one stage, didn't they? Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen.
Oh, yeah, you're right, yeah.
That was a very talented almost.
Thielen's I really rate Thielen.
We said they lost Rudolph as well?
Yeah, Rudolph. He's gone. So it's, I don't know.
Yeah, I really like their ground stadium. We say ground here, but
I'm not opposed to the
it's a cool
They've
cool
got Dalvin
stadium.
Cook. I think they're going to be a lot of.
It's the best team at West Purple.
Yeah.
Oh, don't give this.
It's going to be another running season for them.
When I was at the draft in Nashville, there was a kid in front of me. So out there, they had like these stalls that you could buy like gear, and most of it was like signed gear. I did a while ago, actually. 3 months, I'll have you know.
I felt like I went to the trip with Jonesy. Little inside joke. He told everyone every inch of that trip.
It was a cracking trip.
I've not heard this story though, so I'm actually intrigued. Carry
on. So yeah, they had these like big vans. Who are you smoking? They had these big vans, and like you could buy like signed stuff, and it was like ridiculously expensive. And on my little traveller's budget, I could not buy myself a signed helmet, and the only signed helmet there was a Joe Flacco one. That would have been a waste of money, but anyway.
Yeah.
And I did remember seeing there was a Vikings one. This kid in front of me, when it actually came to the draft, it was packed. There was this kid in front of me who he'd obviously bought it, and it started raining. So what he did is he put his newly signed, like a Kirk Cousins signed Vikings helmet on, and it was just like in the way, and I was like, I just want to hit it so bad. I just wanted to like literally like just slap it.
Another reason to hate
Have you
Kirk
seen
Cousins.
the new helmets they've released that are almost completely matte? They had the matte black ones for a few years, but they've released a matte white one.
Matte white.
Yeah, matte white.
What is this? What, for everybody or just the Vikings?
No, it's for everyone. Riddell have released. I follow him on Instagram.
You know what? No, I know what. I've seen that.
A couple of matte ones. There's a matte white one which has got then some highlighted coloured then logos on, and matte blacks as well. With the black ones looking really good, you've got like kind of blue foils and yellow foils against them. But
I think I saw on Instagram the same post you're on about. I can't find it on Google, but yeah, it was.
It's one of them, but it kind of stood out to me. It's like we won for signed merch here. We do love it, and it just looked really good, especially when you get it with like a silver pen signed on it as well.
Oh, when we've made it big, and we've got a little studio and a little like plate in a little rented building we have, and we'll have
office,
a little office. We'll have a full gear stuff on the walls, and we'll have it on YouTube and everything.
However, I'd like to say, or you might like to say, going back to the our intro, well the news, but our intro.
Oh yeah,
There's a man who starts and finishes.
Yeah, so a bit of a shout out to, not long after we finished the last podcast, Drew Brees announced his retirement from the game. So big man Drew Brees, lots of respect for that guy. He is an unbelievable player. But fun fact, in our intro to this, he brings us in every time you listen to this podcast. He is the guy that is shouting at the beginning, and he's also the guy that makes the play at the very last bit when the commentators asking if he was going to get it, and he says yes. That's a Drew Brees, I believe, a 2-point note at the end to win a game. So Drew Brees is there, and I think he's going to be with us all season. So we've still got Drew Brees with us. But yeah, what a man, eh?
Shout out to arguably second to Tom Brady, but what a player!
Yeah,
what a career!
Current record holder.
Yeah.
Most yards and someone who truly deserved it, was neck and neck with Brady for it. And
yeah, definitely.
He seems like a proper down to earth guy as well.
Yeah, I think with that his longevity is going to last between the two of them, and the memory of the two of them and what they've both achieved. Particularly for Drew Brees, of what he done in New Orleans is up. And it'll be interesting to see what they do this year, to see what happens now, because there were rumours floating about, and I know they've got time to prepare for it. But how involved do you think they were? I mean, did you see his retirement announcement video?
With the kids.
With his umpteen children to announce the retirement, which was good.
Not quite the same level as I've lost his name. Not even in my head. Indianapolis Colts. Oh my word!
Philip Rivers.
Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers. Yeah, he's got a lot of kids. Not quite as many, but yeah, Drew Brees is. Yeah, his announcement with his kids. I think it's just what a guy, and it's gonna be the same when Tom Brady goes. I think same sort of vibe. I think. But yeah, so. Nice one from Drew Brees. Moving on to a story we're just going to touch on. Really, we don't want to go too much into it because it's not that much. It's not really football related. It's about a football player, but the news is all sort of more sort of personal stuff. So, but obviously, Deshaun Watson is looking a bit awkward for him at the moment with the situation in Houston. Obviously, we all know we've been talking about Deshaun for a while now in terms of what he's going to do. It's still not gone anywhere, still there. And then all this news about harassment cases are coming out and
left, right, and centre, aren't they? It's sticky situation for the boy.
Yeah, and I think it puts the team in a position as well because they've backed him.
Yeah, for the whole franchise, really,
they're trying to claim him and keep him for a lot longer. He obviously wants to leave. He might, with this, might have damaged him in terms of who might take him now, and also what the franchise do with him from there on out. So. Yeah, that's kind of all we're going to say on the matter. Obviously, we'd like to see it resolved, however rightly it happens. But back to football things, and we're going on to our next segment.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. So next segment, Chicago. Shout out to Joel Wells because our mate who's a massive Chicago fan. We are moving into Chicago, but I'm going to take it to Hampo on this one because it also involves you and your ex-backup QB and Andy Dalton becoming the new starter for Chicago. Not quite what they wanted. It wasn't quite Russell Wilson, but they got somebody.
That's a good backup. Obviously, we all had the news of Trubisky leaving and going to be back up to Josh Allen in Buffalo, which, as far as backups go, that's huge, really, for Buffalo. But yeah, on the Bears, obviously they've traded for and they've signed Andy Dalton. But yeah, I mean, he's come out and said in his interview that he was guaranteed to be the starter. So, I mean, in regards to him, it's great news because after the season that he had, it wasn't a terrible one at Dallas. But yeah, I suppose if he's come out and said that he's going to be a starter, then it's huge news for him and probably not what Chicago wanted, like you say, being linked with
I saw a few
with
upset
Russ.
Bears fans on Twitter. I saw a few Bear fans upset on there.
When the news broke, I was sat in bed and I got a message from Joel going, "What is this?" basically. Yeah. And I opened it and I was like, "What?" And I looked at it and I was like, "Oh, not ideal." I don't think Bears fans are that pleased right now. I think they were. You know what? It's gonna sound a bit. But I think they were hoping for more than they ever dreamed. I never thought, at no point did I think the Chicago Bears were going to land Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson at any point.
No, but I don't believe so.
I think they're looking above their positioning almost in a way.
Yeah. But Bears fans seem to think they were. They were like, yeah, he's coming. I'm like,
I think Bears fans have such a high opinion of their team. Like, obviously, you want your team to be the best, but I just think you're kind of a straight down the middle sort of easy team. Like you're not going to attract the likes of Russell Wilson. I think there's a lot of talk about it, which got him excited.
I mean,
but
I think it depends on. I think it depends on your team, what you got around you. That's what attracts players. Like we go back to the Tom Brady thing in Tampa Bay. Like Tampa Bay, like 2 years ago, no one who would want to go to Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
Jameis Winston and a bit of a mediocre team, and then Tom Brady turns up and everyone's like, yeah, I want to go and play for him.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's the same with Chicago. I don't think they have anything really in there.
Well, it shows a lot that
in their cabinet.
Trubisky wants to go from being a starter QB to a backup in Buffalo.
I don't think he does. I think he wants to. I think that's a case of it's like you're going to be a backup. He was never going to go in and trouble Josh Allen for a starter. But I'm saying in the sense of he could have stayed at the Bears potentially, and I just think I don't think they would have offered him.
Do you not reckon?
No.
I mean, they're pushing themselves off. Again, it's that question. I know they've got Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
Do you think they're doing a was it Patriots where they've got someone in for maybe a year or two, trying to find someone to fill that position properly?
More than likely.
For a long
I think
period,
a lot of teams are doing that at the minute.
Yeah, I think everyone's hedging their bets almost. What we touched on with Cap and whether it goes up or down next year, and whether we're going to see a continuing trend from that. But also, because there is such a large amount of free agents at the minute, I think there has been what seems to be a lot more than usual. Or at least of bigger names that everyone's kind of hedged their bets on who can we get for short on cheap. There's been teams like the Colts, you say lost Philip Rivers as well. He's retired.
Yeah, he retired. I mean, the Colts. That's another one. What we've spoken about is Carson Wentz at the Colts, and that's another team. I think they've definitely got the ammunition.
Yeah.
But it seems like is Wentz like the next like QB to stay there for years, or is it just gonna be a conveyor belt of just keep signing?
Well, they've kind of gone weird this year. They've only actually signed 2 people in free agency, both on 1-year deals, and no more than $2.5 million on the contract. So they whereas you see someone like the Pats who have gone game, they have gone in deep and put everything into it.
Yeah.
The Colts have almost sat back and staying still. But I mean, there's still some big names in free agency that haven't got a team yet. Richard Sherman, Melvin Ingram.
Oh, I am. I got it on there as well.
You know, they're players who everyone knows. There's T.Y. Hilton from the Colts.
Yeah,
yeah.
Some big
T.Y.
hitters out
Hilton.
there, yeah.
He was a good player.
You know, the last contract was a 5-year contract with the Colts, and now nothing.
Just quickly touching back on Carson Wentz, going to the Colts. I believe, obviously, when Frank Reich, the head coach there, was at the Eagles, I believe he got the best out of Carson Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I think that was a big thing for Carson Wentz going to the Colts. So, from the outside looking in, with Frank Reich as a head coach, I think they're probably going to stick with Wentz, just because if they get the Wentz they had when he was at Philly with Frank Reich, then
I remember that actually.
He was decent. He had a good year or a good couple of years. So I think they're sort of hoping that they're going to get that version of Carson Wentz. Whether they do or not is another thing, but I don't know. I think that's a big thing, big sway for Carson as well.
Yeah, I remember when the Carson Wentz thing broke, I was listening to another podcast and they said the same thing. They were saying that he got a lot more out of him at Philly, and maybe the same thing's going to happen in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting. I've literally just pulled up as well, Reece, the latest sort of last free agents. There's a lot of sort of defensive players, all like the linemen really, what I can see. T.Y. Hilton, Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Oh my word!
Still
I didn't even realise.
Yeah, there's still quite a few people available. Who? Yeah, it's strange.
Antonio Brown's a weird one though. You don't really know what he's so messed up in the head. Who knows what he's thinking? He's one crazy geezer. So, yeah.
Jacoby Brissett left the Colts.
Oh yes, yeah, he has.
Dolphin now.
It's a Dolphin. Oh, you know who that brings me on to? One of my favourite quarterbacks.
Fitzmagic.
Fitzmagic. Oh, what a man! I really rate him. And all the Miami fans were like, "Oh yeah, we've got two. And I was like, "Nah, but you got Fitz." And it's like, "Oh yeah, we have got him." I'm like, "Yeah, but he's the guy that did bits for you at the beginning of the season, and then you just benched him."
And then come back into the to the squad later and still did bits when Chibble was having his little funny five. But yeah,
where's he? Washington, that's it.
The football team.
I saw a funny quote that he said on his, I think it was his signing on conference. It was like, every week's a revenge week because he's played for half the teams in the NFL.
What a bloke!
This is something that just nails him on the head at him. Isn't it?
He's just good. I reckon he's good in the locker room as well.
Yeah, he's got that sort of character about him.
The stuff he wears.
His morale and character building is going to be something that every team kind of wants.
You can't not.
And that beard gets bigger every year.
Yeah, I saw a thing the other day of him when he first came into the league, and he had no beard, and I was like, I didn't even know who it was. I was like, it kind of looks familiar. And then I saw this sort of, it was like a slideshow of each team that he's played for, and every year the beard got bigger and bigger. I was like, oh, it's fit. Yeah,
it's Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, that's who it is. It's
Harvard.
It's the big dog.
He was one of the. When they do the draft, or they used to be for the combine, they used to do an IQ test. They still do it probably. He had the highest IQ test of any quarterback ever in the history of the combine, and he's an ex-Harvard student. So he's like, random fact. I remember reading that that was just come straight out the folder in my head. I remember that from ages ago.
Flicked through the folders there available. Fitzmagic pulled out.
God, I do know something about NFL. Yeah, I even surprise myself sometimes. Cool. I think we've sort of covered most of the news really. I don't think there's much else really. It's,
Texans
else.
getting your old running back.
Oh, Mark Ingram.
How you
You
feeling about
know
that?
what? to be fair, he's got the kind of guy they need. He's he's a morale booster, good guy. He's the guy that started the whole big trust, and like he was basically Lamar Jackson's like personal hype man. Like
Lamar Jackson, woo.
Yeah, that's it. every time it would be like a press conference, he would go on first, do his bit, and build up Lamar, and then Lamar would like sort of trot on after. So no, I think I'm going to miss Mark Ingram. Don't get me wrong, but I can see why the Ravens had to cut him really, because we're heavy in that area. We've got we've got like the I can't remember his name now. Running back that we got in the draft last year from Ohio, I think it was. But yeah, they're stacked in that position, and what he was probably going to cost us to keep. It probably wasn't going to be worth it. I think it was Devic Duvernay as well was in that position as well, who's the backup. So
they've also signed Philip Lindsay from the Broncos, who I believe is actually a baller. I think a lot of people sleep on him. I believe he was the first undrafted running back to become a Pro Bowler, if I'm correct. You have to get me on that stat, man. But I believe he was undrafted. But yeah, I think he was the first undrafted. I don't know if it was a rookie, but to be put into the Pro Bowl. I believe that is. Do you know why that is? I know a lot about Philip Lindsay. It's because I played a Madden career. I was face of the franchise, and I was put onto the Broncos, and so I just know a lot about the Broncos in that sense.
Lindsay in 2018.
You got to know your players.
I did.
Lindsay became the first undrafted offensive rookie to ever make the Pro Bowl.
There you go.
Random stats everywhere from all of us.
Oh, we're on it today.
Knowledge is flying.
All of a sudden, the key has happened on episode 3, and we've finally
clicked.
We've clicked.
We're comfortable. We're now rolling.
We're now rolling. It's going well.
Continue rolling past the news, I think now.
Yeah, gonna roll past the news. We're gonna move on to our next section, which is SBB, which is the same as what we did last week with all three of us. But this week we're doing a little bit differently. We're doing a guest special. So this time we're not doing all three of us.
If you're new to the pod, SBB stands for Start, Bench and Bin. Hopefully if you are new, you would have gone back and listened to 1 and then 2. But if you're not, and you come straight in at 3, SBB is Start, Bench, Bin, our version of Shag, Marry and Kill.
Thank you, Reece. You're like the key. You know, when you look at it, it tells you what's into the asterisks at the bottom. SBB stands for. But yeah, we're going to go to Hampo on this because he has our guest entry.
Yes. Well, probably like all of our parents, my mum and dad are huge fans of the podcast. And my old man actually only listened to podcast number 2 today. But he gave me a message and was like, podcast was good. For SBB, he's actually given us 3 running backs to discuss, which are you ready?
I'm ready.
So it's Ezekiel Elliott from the Mighty Cowboys, Alvin Kamara from the Saints, and you'll like this one, Reece. It's Big Derrick Henry,
Big Dezza
from the Titans. So who are we gonna start, bench, and bin? Shout out Gary, by the way.
You can start this one, Reece.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, very good choices. All of them hold big shouting rights for the position to their own. I think my start is very easy. I'd imagine it's a starter for all 3 of us. Rushing yard leader 2 years in a row, 2,000 yards this year, Derrick Henry. I mean, from that point, it's a personal preference probably comes into it, but I think for me, Kamara's been doing it for a long time and been doing it at the best. Whether that changes this year without Drew Brees, we know whether that goes somewhere different. It is yet to be seen. But as it currently stands, last year, obviously I know it's a difficult year for Zeke last year.
Yeah.
But with how it stands last year and probably the year before, definitely, I think it's Derrick Henry's starter.
The man is a human train.
Yeah. He's a beast.
Human highlight reel, really, isn't he?
Yeah,
come out of his ears.
Stiff arm everywhere.
Scary.
But yeah, Derrick Henry start. Kamara, another beast unto himself.
Yeah.
A completely different style of running back, I'd say.
A couple of people sleep on him, I think.
Yeah. He's
very, very good.
for me, he's one of those that is up there. So he's my bench, and unfortunately, Zeke is joining. To be fair,
the star-studded lineup in the bin.
We've got
Josh Allen, Kenny Golladay, and Nick Bosa on it.
Yeah, Nick Bosa. For me, Zeke is going straight into that bin. Obviously, I don't know how you boys are going to go. I mean, there might be a little bit of bias from you, George, but Chris, for you first of all.
For me, I'm actually going to mix it up. I'm going to mix it up. I've actually sort of changed my opinion a little bit after sort of thinking about it. So my start, I'm actually going to go with Alvin Kamara. And I'm going to bench Derrick Henry. And my reasons for it is, I do like Derrick, don't get me wrong, he's a human train, he just powers through people. But like you say, I'm going to go back to the point that they're very different running backs. Alvin Kamara can sidestep any person, like dupe them, literally.
He's just runs routes more.
He's just like bam bam, like someone, if he's running towards someone, that corner, that safety, they have no idea where he's going. It's like
he's almost on skates, isn't he?
I don't think he has an idea where he's going until it happens.
very true.
It's almost like click of the finger.
But he he breaks ankles. He just spins, and I think Derrick is a bit of a different kind of guy. He's just, I'm going to run you over, and when I put my arm out, and my arm is like an iron rod, and you're not going to stop. So for that, Alvin Kamara is my start because I prefer his play. Derrick is my bench, and unfortunately, Mr. Crop Top Zeke has made his way to the bin in
Probably
mine.
deserves it for the crop top.
Yeah, that crop top was horrendous. I don't know what he's doing there. But yeah, Zeke is in my bin. I do like Zeke, don't get me wrong, but he's too hot and cold. He's just like, 1 minute you watch him and you think, God, he's good, like unreal, and then the next minute you think, oh, brilliant. He's just running into the line and just down. It's nothing happens. So I think he's too inconsistent for me. So that's why Zeke is in my bin.
My interesting one here comes to you because, especially having
Cowboy.
Zeke binned twice. George, over to you, mate.
Which means he's automatically in the bin regardless of what you say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You can't change it.
Well, no, yeah. It's hard. I think if we're going based on last year, it pains me to say he deserves to go in the bin, but being a big Cowboys fan, I'm not going to put him in the bin. So my starter would be Derrick Henry. I just think, like you say, Reece, the last 2 years they've just done it himself. He's just been an absolute disgrace of a player. Just the amount of people with stiff arms, it's almost scary. It really is. Like I watch him throw grown men to the floor with one hand whilst running full pelt. It's almost laughable. Like,
they're literally float. Like if you freeze frame it, there's a man floating in the air while Derrick.
Like it's not even just a pushover; it's a shove.
And it's not one time, is it? It's happened consistently.
It's multiple times, yeah.
And he uses oppositions as blockers himself.
And I think people don't really. Well, a lot of people do, but for how tall he is, he's rapid. Like the geezer's quick.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people just think because of his size, he gets us as far because people can't tackle him. But
he's fast.
The guy's quick.
Very fast, yeah.
Very, very quick. Which leads me on to my bench player being the mighty Zeke Elliott.
Been in Kamara.
Yeah, I've got to.
Wow.
Yeah, Zeke Elliott. I can't not. I think, last year was a tough year for him. I think it was just tough, the whole franchise for Dallas. I think this year he'll come back stronger. But yeah, I think I've seen enough, and obviously being a Cowboys fan, to warrant being in the bench. And yeah, so that leaves me to, in the golden bin, put Alvin Kamara.
So in George's bin,
but like you say, it doesn't really count for much.
For the TMD bin, Zeke Elliott is joining. As I say, it is a started lineup. Josh Allen is a favourite of all three of us.
True.
Zeke now joins him, and a couple of others.
Yeah, it's a tough one to take that one, but
to be fair, he was up against very stiff competition.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, it was hard. I mean, yeah, your dad's done us good there, giving us three very good players.
And to be fair, it's almost with at least for me and Chris with two starters and Jules there as well, is that starters and bench. I think as a coach, if you're looking at it, you probably interchange the two of them as your starter and your bench, depending on who you're playing.
Well, they do anyway, don't they? When you watch games.
Yeah, but I mean, if you were lucky enough to have both of those in your team, you've got one who, if you've got a smaller line that you're going at, you've got Derrick Henry to go through them. If you've got something big but slow, Kamara's going to twizzle them, and he says he's going to break their ankles.
Yeah, definitely.
No, I agree. Yeah.
So that's where we're at with SBB. It's been a good one actually. It's been short but sweet. Yeah. I like it. Makes it up a little bit.
Short doses. Nice.
We're now gonna head over to Reece, Mr. Social Media, to tell us what questions we have on the Instagram. We only put this up because it was a bit last minute. We only have a couple of questions because we didn't have that long on the old Q&A, but we have got them. So I've got some questions coming in. So we're going to answer them again for you today.
Yeah, first one I think we actually already answered. There's what do you think about the Pats loading up, particularly in free agency? So we've covered that already. You know, they've gone hard, they've gone big, and I think we all agree there'll be a
statement made.
Yeah, I think that there'll be a fighting force this year in the AFC, and 100% a playoff team. And you know,
I don't want them to be, but I think they will be.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those where we'll see what happens.
Big Bill.
One thing we've not really mentioned is the draft. Obviously, we kind of pre-saw what was happening with the questions coming in, so we've looked ahead at kind of saving that for this. A frequent listener to the pod and seen questions 2 or 3 times from Jack Quinn. So he's asked, draft, who's going top 5 and why? Now, I think this is almost one of those that can be interpreted by anyone. And it comes down to the teams that have the picks, and of course, if anyone trades up, I think the one we discussed maybe I think it was 2 podcasts ago now was pick number 3 that the Dolphins have got. Realistically, they might not need it, but if they do use it, they're obviously not going to go for another quarterback.
No.
Would they try and get a wide receiver almost that's gonna look out for Tua, and they can build a distance partnership up? These are things you kind of think about, but top 5. I mean, number 1, I think we're all settled. We all know the Jags are going.
Yeah, we know who's going.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Joe Burrow situation again, isn't it? It's almost just set in stone.
Yeah, where it's been signed, sealed, and delivered for a good few months already.
Yeah.
And the question come towards the end of the season just past was not who's going number 1, but whether he was going to the Jets, as it was assumed for a long way of the season.
Oh yeah, I remember
only
that.
the Jets could win a game to then screw their next season up.
or
you couldn't write it.
Or Jags doing Jags, and
yeah,
somehow fell to the bottom of the pit, but are going to pick up Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
QB out of Clemson. What do we think?
Very good.
Do we think he, obviously going, I suppose, on last year's number 1 overall, do we think he's comparable?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for us to say.
Different,
I've not seen as much of him. Yeah, like I say, he's different. Yeah, he's definitely going to the Jags, 100%. I think it's just, I'd love to be that guy that goes.
I feel like the draft starts at number 2 now.
Yeah, I'd love to be that guy that says, oh yeah, no, I think this is going to be that person, and it happens, and think I'm like some sort of draft god, but it's not going to happen. He's going to go there. The Jacksonville QB, Jacksonville head coach, sorry, was at his pro day, and he was the only head coach at his pro day, and he was actually talking to him like just casually, so it was almost signed, sealed, and delivered really on that. Yeah, will he be the same as Joey B? It's hard to say, but
I feel like he's a little bit more mobile than Joey B.
I really liked his pro day when I was watching it, and you said you weren't that impressed.
No, I mean, again, it's a pro day is just a guy with no pressure on him really throwing a ball to wide receivers. Like, you can't really look too much into it, I suppose. But I don't know. I just think last year watching Tua, watching Joey B, their pro days were just a little bit more sort of just better, really. I just think he didn't really. It's almost like he knows he's going number 1. He doesn't really have to try too hard, which I suppose is kind of an element. There's an element of truth there.
Joey B are probably the same thing.
Yeah, of course. Like they've just watched your season in college, so you don't really need to do too much. But I don't know. I just think he could have done a little bit more, really. Bearing in mind that it's not actually 100% set in stone. But yeah, I just don't get me wrong. He'll go there and he will be good. But yeah, I just think his pro day was just a little bit boring, really.
It was. I mean, he's a haircut. I'm just gonna put it out there. But
Does he?
like, don't get me wrong. I've got nothing against long hair, but the fact he's like constantly like
Getting
sweeping. He's like a shampoo advert.
It's flowing locks, isn't it? He's not just like long hair.
He doesn't wear a headband, does he?
I don't think so.
So when he was doing that pro day, he was constantly just going back with his hair, and it literally was like, pan 10.
But I think he's tall. He's 6'6".
He is big,
215. Like it's big arm.
But I mean,
accuracy, mobility,
as you said, I think the draft starts at number 2.
Yeah. 100%.
Oh yeah, you're 100%.
I think it's a tale of quarterbacks. The Jets need one. I don't think.
I think it's a draft of QBs really. The first sort of 5, 6.
I think there's 2 that stand out for me. Which everyone's tipping Zach Wilson, I believe.
Yeah. Big fan of Zach Wilson.
But
I like Zach Wilson a lot.
I'm thinking Trey Lance could be
Trey Lance,
yeah, could be a pick for it. I mean, to come out of North Dakota State, it's I don't know. I just personally see him a bit more suited to the Jets. But you know what it's like. It kind of comes down to on the day almost. And we don't know the bits that go on behind closed doors.
No, of course.
We can see what's happening at pro days. We can see what's going on there, and who stands out and who doesn't. But it's the impression, I think, behind the scenes that each franchise is going to take on their own, and that's where it's going to really come from. Especially someone like the Jets, who are probably looking for a franchise QB as well to
definitely
take them multiple steps forward that they need to, leaps forward.
I can't see Darnold being that man.
No, I don't know. Maybe if he was at sort of a good franchise with better players to aim for and better sort of defense, then maybe. But yeah,
the Jets just have been rubbish, haven't they, for the last
they're almost
4 or 5 years? They've just not been good.
The Giants aren't great, but then they're miles better than the Jets.
The Jets
have
almost,
it into perspective almost.
The Jets have almost gone like Browns from 5 years ago.
Yeah,
I think the base 2 teams in the NFL really are the Jets and.
I think one of the biggest when the Jets won that game, which almost gifted Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence. I think it was a part of Trevor Lawrence that was really probably very happy with that.
Buzzing.
Because if you had the two,
he was slagging 100.
Yeah, I bet he was really not happy. I think.
Well, there were rumours that he wasn't going to declare
for the draft because it was shoe in favour for Jets to be number 1. But yeah, I think. Yeah. They've done him a favour, really.
I mean, for me, you saying Trey Lance actually completely took me by surprise because the two I'm sort of looking at here for the Jets is Zach Wilson or Justin Fields. Now, for me, it's Justin Fields all day long. Ohio State, he's the guy really for me. I can't see Trey Lance or Zach Wilson going there. But yeah, he looks good as well. So I think, he's going to be that sort of franchise QB. Well, you never know. They say that are they going to be that franchise QB? You don't know until season 2.
Of course,
really.
A lot of comparisons to him to just Sean Watson, Justin Fields. You can kind of see it. I watched the semi-final against Clemson, and he absolutely dominated Clemson. I think Clemson's were shoo-in favourites for the tournament. But yeah, I just think he absolutely showed up. I believe he sort of took a heavy hit, which got a player from Clemson ejected, and I still think he turned up and just absolutely battered him, wiped the floor almost. But yeah, big fan of Justin Fields. I just don't know. It's like you say, Reece. It's what different franchises see in different quarterbacks, what films they see, what kind of with the interviews that go on. We don't know who they click with. They could go Justin Fields. They could go Zach Wilson. You just don't know, do you?
I think the draft is so hard. It's so hard to say. We could say some player you look at I'm looking at a couple of different mock drafts here from different sort of professional pundits, and they're all different. And it's like
I think the thing for me now this year coming into it is not even so much the players. It's who goes where. So in terms of who takes what pick, it's like the Dolphins have picked number 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do they really need it?
Well, I've got here that they're probably, like you say, they've got Tua, and I believe he'll be the franchise QB. Yeah. Devontae Smith, the wide receiver, the Heisman winner.
Yeah, see, I've got one up here that says Jamar Chase, the same wide receiver.
Yeah, see, I would say I would go Jamar Chase.
Very good though. Jamar Chase, they're both good.
I think it's fixed on that they might take a wide receiver.
Yeah, they don't need a QB. They don't need QB.
No way,
they don't need to. Tua, he's the future of them. But yeah, be interesting. It would be out of them two, wide receiver wides. For me, them two are the best. Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase.
The other thing is if someone peaks a trade with them, if they can get something back for it and get 1 or 2 picks in.
Yeah. Realistically, do they need to go that high up in the draft?
Not really.
Well, what do they go? Didn't they go 3rd or 2nd last year? I think it was 2nd.
They've traded really good picks.
Yeah, they have.
They've
had a few crap years to then have a good few sort of years now.
To picks, yeah,
they've stacked those picks completely. I think sort of another player, obviously. Yeah, Trey Lance is creeping up to be in that top 5. I've got here they're saying Trey Lance for Atlanta, but I believe that would be.
It's their 4th pick, aren't they?
Yes, well, I'm going to just double check. Yeah, they are 4th pick. So I've got another one here saying that the Panthers could potentially trade up to find themselves that franchise QB, which is
I've got Carolina with Trey Lance.
Yeah, Carolina trading up for Trey Lance. Well,
get rid of Teddy.
Yeah, but I don't think they will, because I think Atlanta also need that. Matt Ryan isn't going to be isn't going to be there
The
forever.
draft pick I've got, the Falcons are getting Justin Fields at 4, but the Justin Fields is still in the QB hunt and actually not been picked by number 4. Who knows? Like you say, if Justin Fields good. There's a lot of good QBs. So as much as you probably have your heart set on one, if you don't get the one you want, you'll have an idea of a backup.
I think it's the same. That's the same thing.
All good quarterbacks this year in the draft, I think.
In the Ravens, in fact, we got and I had to bring it back round to Lamar again, but like he was just sat there and people were thinking, and he thought he was going to be a first rounder, and all of a sudden he's like the 32nd pick, and it's like, yeah, and then
TB. Didn't he get picked during a commercial break?
Yeah, he did. I think it was
$2.99.
Yeah, it was some sixth round. It was a 6th round pick, wasn't he, or something like that? And it was
wasn't
literally
even televised.
It wasn't even televised. He was
No.
picked during a commercial break, and when they came back, they were like, "Oh, during the break, New England Patriots have drafted
QB.
Tom Brady," and it's like, little do they realise this
The
man,
greatest player.
this man was
NFL
basically going to
field.
become, the god. So yeah, just because you don't get maybe the guy you want.
Yeah, I almost feel sort of players that go later in the draft anyway almost
That's
not so much
special.
have a point to prove, but I suppose they do in a sense.
Yeah,
Like they have a high opinion of themselves. But like again, you took it back to Lamar. I'll bring it back to Dak. Like I think he went 4th round. I don't even think it was high.
I'll go for you. I think Tony Romo
Well, yeah, exactly.
didn't even get drafted.
Yeah, and obviously he's probably, like we said in a previous pod, probably one of, if not the top 5 to not win
A ring.
a ring,
didn't realise
but
that,
be
Tony
one
Romo.
of the best ever.
Yeah, Tony Romo didn't get drafted.
I did not realise he didn't get drafted.
There's a few out there that you say everyone's like, oh, this guy went number 1, number 2, number 3, etc. Not really doesn't always
Saying
mean.
this year's MVP, Aaron Rodgers, fell down that list.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Say Tom Brady the best.
And
of all
San
time.
Francisco didn't want him, and he had his heart set to go home,
Yeah.
but they didn't want him. And Green Bay, but look at him now. He's
And I think that's the thing
one
is,
of the goats.
I think we're probably gonna end it there on that, because otherwise we'll spend the next
Yeah.
half an hour of a podcast that is already going to be a bit long, boring you with who could go where, even though we don't really know,
if it's
because
long.
we're looking at a million different options. We're looking at so many different people's opinions, and to be fair, no one's really going to know until the night. I mean, after pick 1, anything can happen realistically, and someone might surprise us. The Jags might surprise us in pick 1. Trevor Lawrence could have said something very, very wrong.
I mean, people could win a lot of money. I'm not condoning gambling to anybody.
Gamble
but gamble away. But hey, you could
Fun
put
stop.
yeah, you could always put like a $5, tenner on some outside or the first round. You would get mental odds.
You'd never catch any of us betting on what colour drink gets thrown over the winning coach
Oh yeah,
in the Super Bowl.
You won that not last year, but the year before.
Oh, yeah, I did.
And you were asleep as well when it happened.
Yeah, I don't know what. Honestly, well, no. So I woke up and there was about 20 seconds left on the clock, and I think I nudged Chris and was like, "Chris, what colour did I pick? I think I picked orange. What colour did I pick? I forgot." Just because I was like, they were already celebrating, and it was a case of
That was a funny night. We drank far too much beer, far too soon, and we were asleep by the second quarter.
stuff with food.
Oh, my
George
eyes were
had
shut
work
at
the
the
next
kickoff.
morning.
My eyes were shut at the kickoff.
Right.
I remember waking up in the halftime show, seeing a little bit of Shakira, and like, I'm not bothered by this. Turn over, like sleep.
This year when I was watching it by myself, like at home because of #COVID, I literally didn't drink. I'm not going to drink any beer, because if I drink beer, I will be asleep. So I literally just sat and just drank like teas, coffees, and like a energy drink.
Just had a caffeine boost. He was sat there shaking like a rocket, probably.
Yeah, while
See, I had a different
getting
experience
really
this year.
confused watching
The glass maze.
the glass maze. Where
The
am
biggest
I?
meme of 2021.
Yeah, no, that was different for me this year. I had work the next day, so I recorded it. Went social media free for a day, and
God.
and put in the group chat.
No
If you
spoilers,
text
no
me
spoilers.
any spoilers, we're never speaking ever again. And managed to watch it at about 6 o'clock.
I don't think it was that late this year, so me and the old man just sort of stayed up, a couple of beers, just which was a nice one.
It depends on the time zone, doesn't it? For us, because it could be anywhere between 5 hours to 8 hours behind.
Yeah, I think where was it hosted last year? Oh, we watched it.
It was in Miami.
Oh, it was Miami. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it was
it's all
Miami.
5 hours. God, imagine if it's in like
Vegas.
or like San Francisco. Oh God.
God. That would be a record.
I feel sorry for us across the Atlantic when we're trying to watch this at 3 o'clock in the morning.
We've got 2 questions left. We've got another very deep one, very long one.
Oh no. It's just going to really rack my brains.
Do you know what?
Test
It's
my
gonna
NFL knowledge.
It is going to be very knowledgeable, and I think we'll come to you first of all.
Oh God.
So, players' wages, are they capped? And are there different caps, if so, for different ranks in terms of where you are in the team, what position you play, how long you've been in the league? What do we know?
Now, forgive me if I'm wrong to any listeners. They could be listening to this and thinking, "Oh my God, he's got that so wrong." But no. So players' wages aren't capped in the sense of like because of position or anything like that. Yes, there is a salary cap, which we've spoken a lot about, which is the overall cap that all teams have to adhere to, which I think is actually a fantastic idea. And if that was introduced into our football, I think that would really change things. But unfortunately, the way our football works is not the same. But yeah, it that makes it fair for as many teams as possible. And what was the first bit? Whether depending on their position, was it or?
Yeah, so position or ranks or how long they've been in there. So
yeah, it
from
really
contracts.
It obviously things change. There's no written down rule that something you won't get this if you've been here that long, or you won't get it because there is unwritten rules in the sense of depending on position. If you're a quarterback, obviously you're going to get paid the most. If you're a wide receiver, you're probably going to get paid the second most. The people that make the biggest impact are going to get paid the most. Unfortunately, people like linemen and stuff do get paid the least. Who, in fairness to them, put their bodies on the line the most.
Unsung heroes, though.
Yeah, the unsung heroes. The big bruises at the front.
It works, isn't it?
So on that instance, they might get paid more, and the same to do with their age. You're not going to offer a contract to a guy who's getting on like we've seen this year. A lot of one-year contracts knocking around. People they're not going to commit to somebody who they're not 100% confident with, or if they're post 30, that kind of thing. So yeah, I could have got that horrendous. As far as I'm aware, there isn't a cap.
I think the other thing they've got is
players.
There's guaranteed and base salaries that confuse people as well. So the guarantees are put in place because, as we all know, or maybe not all know, to be fair, so there could be anyone listening to this. So what happens with players is that they will sign a contract pre of the season, so before the season starts. There are guarantees in there for if they miss out or do not miss out certified training schedules, and then there may be bonuses linked to that. There could be bonuses linked to obviously a whole host of other things, but the guarantees are there for if they were to get injured and miss games, because the weekly pay is who's active that week. So if they were to get cut from the roster, if they were to get dropped out, if there was to be injuries, if there was to be any kind of cap deficit, they're guaranteed that money irrespective of all of that.
I think an example of that actually was Antonio Brown from last year. In his contract, I think he had a certain amount of touchdown passes, all catches, one or the other, and he would get a bonus. I think it was something stupid like $250,000.
I think he got that in the Super Bowl, didn't he?
I don't know if he got it. I think he might have got it before. But Tom Brady purposely looked for him because he knew if he got a touchdown, he would get some money. I think. Yeah, he did get a touchdown in the Super Bowl. It could have even been that, but yeah. So there are clauses, there are things that they can do to earn more money. And the easiest one to reference is catches and
just going back to what you said about obviously positions. If we look at obviously go back to the Pats, Matthew Judon, the linebacker, he's getting guaranteed money of $32 million. So it just depends, doesn't it, really, on what you're going to bring to that specific team.
What impact you're going to have on that team?
Of course.
Yeah, I think
you see kickers and punters probably get paid at least in football money, in American football money, pennies really, but it's probably still a shitload of money. But in regards to, like you say, a quarterback or a wide receiver, it's pennies.
And they might get paid $1 or $2 million, while a wide receiver is going to get paid 30, 40, and a quarterback's going to get paid 70 or 80.
Yeah. I mean, the thing you're going to have a look as well is that in the same as any job, any profession, any sport, any whatever, theoretically, it just comes down to how good you are and your reputation. If you're someone who's being fought for, whether that's to be kept by your current team, club, work, whatever, or someone else trying to fight for you, a bidding war is what everyone wants. Up your money goes. You've got cards to play, and that's what it's going to be. But there's some big contracts out there, and something none of us would turn down at any end of the spectrum.
Absolutely
I'd
not.
be happy for punters' salary.
No, 100%. It's to kick a ball between two posts.
Yeah.
Next question, final question. Kind of already touched on it a bit earlier, but not really specified this. We've gone over it. Free agency's obviously been headlined everywhere. What's your personal, or who do you think's been the best move in that free agency? One pick in free agency.
Good question.
What's been your best or your favourite, or do you think is a team's got someone who plays above probably where they're going to be playing their new team? What do you think?
I really. There's such a large amount that has moved. I mean, for me, I do think Texans are getting Mark Ingram. I know I'm going back to that, and I sort of touched on it earlier, but I think for me, the impact he has. I mean, I'm probably saying this because I know him the most, and I know what he brings. But him himself, he's still a fantastic player. He brings a lot. Like I keep going on about it, but like the mentality he has and what he brings to probably a locker room. I think for the Texans is because it should hopefully revitalise them a little bit. Yes, he's not going to change the whole franchise and not going to change the way they work, but I think for me that's a standout, for them. And the other one, Fitzpatrick. I think I rant and rave about Fitzpatrick, and I think so many people, especially, and maybe not stateside, I don't know, but over here, like, people don't really rate him at all, and people either don't know about him or just go, oh, he's just been to like a million teams. I'm like,
yeah, they do.
But he is a good player, and I think for Washington, what a sign! I think it's just brilliant. Because I had this conversation with you guys last time, but I was like, well, hold on, does that mean Heineke's going to be their starter? And I was like, well, yeah, and I'm thinking, nah. He's a backup. Yeah, I don't think he's good, but just because he had one good game, before that, he's going to all of a sudden be the starter. So yeah, I think Fitzpatrick at Washington is probably that big one.
I'd say for me it's going to sound probably biased, but the Dallas Cowboys finally signing Dak, I'd say for me is the best, just because just around the whole uncertainty of it. Is he? Isn't he? Is he? Isn't he? Like for so long, and like you say, we said last week there was a period where I think a lot of Dallas fans, and me included, thought we weren't actually going to sign him.
No.
He was actually going to be able to explore free agency. Teams were going to be able to meet with him. But for us and what he brings to our franchise and what he sort of gets the team to do, I think, for me that's the best business. One of the best piece of businesses out there.
Oh yeah, I think for Dallas it's such a big. He's such a brilliant player. So we've spoken about it before, but he's such a brilliant player.
He's just so loved by the team. It's so obvious when he got down injured last season. Don't get me wrong. Again, I can't speak highly enough of Andy Dalton and the job that he did. But you could tell that the chemistry just wasn't there for the rest of the season. The same sort of chemistry that obviously the players have with Dak, because they respect him more. He's just their guy. He's everything you want a quarterback to be. Like as a wide receiver, as a tight end, as whatever. If he's going to throw the ball to you, you almost have confidence in him. Whereas I don't think the players had that in Andy Dalton.
No.
So for me, that's probably what is my best bit of business.
Yeah, I mean, I think my one, on a biased one, which is a player favourite of mine from the Titans, was Corey Davis going to the Jets. I think they've got a very good player there who's probably outweighs the team, but taking the bias side away from it, one I actually think that's been slept on quite a bit for the team as well as for the player is Kenyon Drake going to the Raiders, going to Vegas. I think they found a gem in Josh Jacobs, but I think there was a lot of potential for him to burn out very quickly because he almost carried the team.
Yeah, being the only.
Derek Carr's getting on a bit. I think he carried them. So I think him having a bit of respite could become a bigger force for the Raiders, and Kenyon Drake's proven.
I like Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, I really like Kenyon Drake.
I
think he'd done bits at Miami. I don't think he got as much of a chance at
Arizona. I was shocked when he left Miami when they got rid of him. I couldn't believe it. I was like, really?
But I think Kenyon Drake for the Raiders has gone under the radar because it's not really been spoken about. And I think it is a massive signing for, again, arguably. This is going to sound really.
I
feel like I'm digging them out here, and I'm not. But I think a player who's better than the team he's now at. I'm not saying he's one of the best running backs. Like, he's not going to be, say, out of the three that we spoke about earlier. Kamara, Zeke, and Derrick Henry. He's not in that top 3 or top 5.
It's not A-list, is it?
But he's a solid, reliable running back. And then having that with Josh Jacobs, who can only grow with experience, I think the Raiders have got a really good base, particularly the fact their QB's getting on a lot and there's no mobility whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I don't want to get started on the Raiders again, but I don't. I really don't. I love the Raiders, in terms of like their sort of ethos, even like where they are now in Vegas and all that stuff. But I think they're just a bit pants, aren't they?
Haircut of their own.
Yeah.
I think as well.
Yeah, that haircut is dodged.
Oh
Isn't it?
god, yeah. Green Bay resigning.
If I had
Aaron
$500 million, I would not have my hair. I'm sorry, I know I keep going on about this, but that hair is just.
So I got home. I think it was a couple of days ago, and my dad had listened to it about 2 or 3 days ago. So it went 2 or 3 days after it come out, and he went. The first thing he said when I walked through, didn't say hello. And then he went, "That haircut is horrific." He was like, $500 million in that haircut. Sorry, he went, literally, I listened to the podcast, paused it. He's like, only about 30 seconds left, but I've paused it to Google him, looked at his hair, and was like, I can't believe this. Went back and pressed play. And I was like, we weren't making it up. It is generally horrific. You haven't seen it. Google the Raiders owner. His haircut is awful. But yeah, I agree. I mean, the team, for a team that's got a really big following internationally as well. I don't think they're.
I think they've got to build. Wait, so I cut you off.
No, it's fine. No, it's very worth it because again,
Haircut.
terrible haircut. But no, the Green Bay Packers signing Aaron Jones, their running back, huge because there was a lot of sort of talk about him going, and Aaron. I don't know. I just think them signing him was huge for the happiness, almost, it sounds stupid, of Aaron Rodgers, who there was a lot of talk again of him potentially either retiring or going somewhere else, seeking a trade. But to keep one of the good weapons that they did have and one of his good friends, I think huge for Green Bay. Yeah,
he was a big one. Really. I think a lot of Packers fans thought he was going to go, 100%. Like they were talking. I was watching Good Morning Football the other day, and they were talking about it because I think it was breaking that I think it was the night before that he had signed, and they were saying, how big of an impact that's going to have, and they were saying that an interesting sort of point that they brought out was because he's got big there, he's got good there. Does that mean it also goes for other players? If a player is at a team and you don't see much of them for season 1, season 2, what have you, but then they make it big, does that mean that they can then go and do that at another team, or is they can only do it at the team they're at? So I think with him, the chance, could he have done it at another team? Maybe, yes, no, but yeah, for Green Bay to keep him, I think that saves them any effort of having to get someone else, and good on overall in Lambeau.
They're going to be interested next year as well, because coming to the end, thinking probably a year into the future. What's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers, but also Devontae Adams is out of contract. This is the last year on his contract.
True.
Now either he's going to be demanding big money, which again, as we said, we don't know what happens with cap space future. Very much worth it, but he could be a big free agent if anything does happen there. But I think that kind of answers the question. We've gone around the houses there and brings us on what should be a new closing segment.
A new closing segment. That should be good fun.
So we've gone for a tier list section. If you are a fan of YouTube / other podcasts, you may or may not have seen tier lists. What we've got is, we're running the NFC today, so we're going to go through all 16 NFC teams and rate them across 4 tiers that we've got.
This should be fun.
We've got, to start with, the GOAT tier. As it explains, the GOATs, the greatest of all times. There may be some in here, there may not, we might disagree, agree. Second tier is pushing the leaders, getting up there. Maybe not quite GOATs, but they're getting there. We've got meh, that is our third one. You're neither here nor there. Some of them really like them, but they're not awful. They're just not very good.
They just make up the league.
Yeah, and to end we've got XFL. So if there was relegation, as there probably should be sometimes, the Jags and the Jets can go down to the
You've been relegated to the XFL. Congratulations. Go and shake your hands with Vince McMahon. Oh, no, it's The Rock now, isn't it?
It's The Rock. Wayne. Can we just give third shout out to The Rock and Vince McMahon and WWE, and please sponsor us or sign us up.
Side note, there's XFL are potentially signing with the Canadian Football League.
I did see that.
Yeah. God, it goes to show
explains a lot
how good the football is in Canada. Anyway, right, Reese, take us in.
Tier maker. So NFC teams. So we've got a specialist here. We've got George, Chief NFC analyst. Atlanta Falcons. We'll go alphabetically. It's easier. Atlanta Falcons. Although technically
I don't know my alphabet really, so how are we
I
going
say it's actually to me because Arizona Cardinals are going to be before Atlanta Falcons. So yeah, Arizona Cardinals.
Dallas, oh wait, no, Chicago.
Yeah. Throw in San Francisco just for the
Right.
hell of it.
Cardinals.
Arizona Cardinals. Obviously, and to be fair, we're basing it on currently, so not how they did last year. This is just
the year coming.
this is what we're coming forward.
yeah.
Just how the team is, how the team's viewed today. You know what we're looking at.
Used to be just making up the numbers.
Yeah, I think they've gone up. I don't think they're quite XFL status.
I'd say pushing the leaders for me.
Cardinals.
Yeah, just purely because, like, don't get me wrong, they have the potential and they have the talent in their roster to be the GOAT or be in the GOAT sort of tier.
Not done it yet though.
But yeah, it's not proven yet.
I think they're maybe 2 or 3 years away. They've got to push. They've got
Like you
to
say,
build
on
and-
paper they are GOAT, but we've not seen it.
I'm not putting them in this, to be fair. I'm actually agreeing. What's the third one?
Meh.
Meh. Oh yeah.
Meh is to be fair, I think where they probably were last year,
Yeah.
which is where everything was unproven.
Yeah.
There was a bit of hype, but
Definitely, yeah. I'm
Definitely.
with that. Pushing the leaders. I like that. I like that choice.
Atlanta Falcons. Now, I definitely would say they're not the top 2 tiers. It's I think
No
so.
shot being top 2. No shot.
Matt Ryan.
Past it. I think if it all kind of depends on who they get in the draft, because they're definitely gonna draft for a QB overall first. It depends who they get, but yeah, for me, they've got a couple of good weapons. Calvin Ridley, big fan of him.
Is Julio Jones still there?
Yeah,
Yes.
I believe he is.
Yes.
So they've got some good weapons. Who Reese thinks is the best wide receiver in the league.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they are.
Christ.
I stand by that.
Um,
I stand by that 100%.
Matt Ryan's long past.
I don't think they're XFL stand just because of some of the weapons they've got.
Yeah, no, I agree.
For me, they're meh.
Them,
They're meh.
Carolina Panthers. Now I think they
Oh.
could stand a chance of XFL.
They're breaking that boundary, aren't they?
They are.
The
They
only
are.
thing they've got going is Christian McCaffrey, and he was injured last year.
Yeah,
Not all year,
and
but
apparently
they're
they're happy to trade him out for someone better.
Really?
Yeah, apparently I don't know how true it was, but there was rumours that Christian McCaffrey was going to get traded out for a potential new QB and potentially traded out for someone like Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson. Why you would do that for someone that is like your main man, I don't know.
Main man.
I think that they're. For me, they're XFL.
You take Christian McCaffrey out of the team, they are definitely XFL.
Yeah, XFL, I'm happy with that. Yeah.
So 3 down. We've agreed on all 3. We're
Oh, this is weird.
I
This.
like it. Chicago.
What's some arguments?
Chicago. No more Mitch.
Probably
Yeah,
a good thing.
XFL, bite and move on. No, I'm joking.
You are going to lose some friends.
Oh, there's some friends here. God.
Again,
Garbage
I
franchise.
yeah, I don't.
They are. No, they are. We joke.
They are not pushing the leaders.
terrible.
They're not
They
Green
are not
Bay, are
top
they?
2.
Green Bay's got it all over them. I'm just
Honestly,
I'm
the biggest-
stirring the pot here, aren't I?
There's
Go
just
Green
there's
Bay.
no shot of them making the playoffs again. How they made it last year was a joke.
Yeah. Do you know what?
Like, honestly, I was honestly gutted for Miami last year. I was like, how have they not made it? They were good the whole season, solid, but yeah, Chicago, I don't know how.
No, for me, realistically, give them a little bit of something. For me, they're meh right now.
Yeah,
I don't know, you could disagree. I mean, I do joke about XFL. They're on that cusp, but I think I'll give them a little bit of something. They are meh.
So I think the thing they're not as bad as the Panthers, which is what's keeping me from
I
putting them
disagree.
XFL.
I'd put them XFL.
Really?
I would,
Really?
but if I'm being outvoted, but yeah, I
what is
don't
it?
know. I just don't.
I agree with meh. I
Okay,
think meh.
well,
Yeah, I just
I
don't
like
think
that.
they're
No,
enough.
I appreciate that XFL.
Don't get me wrong. I think. Do you know what? Had they not made the playoffs last year, I think I'd agree. But they have got something. It might not be a lot. They've got a little bit that's keeping them.
Yeah.
All right.
You know
I'm
that
happy
head
to
above
put them in
water.
meh.
Big up Andy Dalton.
Yeah,
Right.
they'll be goat tier soon. Don't worry.
Right. Now, before George goes off on this,
I'll let you two.
Detroit Lions
Well, when Matt Stafford was there, I'd say
pushing the leaders.
pushing the leaders.
Yeah.
But Jared Goff is there now.
So George Inslee says below XFL.
Now, the
if
only
there
thing I
is
like
one.
about Detroit right now is their coach. He's badass. Have you seen him?
Yeah.
Have you seen his interviews? He's like the most like angry but like pumped up bloke ever. He's like the kind of
He's passionate, but
he's the kind of bloke you
he's-
want to go for a beer with. I'm not gonna lie.
Do you know what? I actually am happy to put these in the XFL.
Really?
I think they've fluffed it big time.
Yeah, they're such an old franchise. I feel bad for it, but you know what? I'm agreeing there.
So we'll let George now have his. Come to the mic, George Hampson.
I just don't think there's enough time in this segment for me to go off. Like you said, no, I agree with what Chris said. When they had Matt Stafford.
We'll cut that out.
We're going to keep that sneezing.
Eye for an eye.
That sneeze is
eye
not
for an eye, Chris.
That sneeze is not leaving, is it?
But you know, yeah.
I'm the one that edits these things.
Yeah, like I
I
said.
find it 1 hour and 14 minutes. Remember that, Chris. Carry on, George.
Sorry, George. Yeah,
No, it's fine. But no, I agree with what you say, Chris. In the sense of if they still had Matt Stafford, then yeah. Problem. Meh.
Oh, Siri's getting involved.
Siri wants to chat. I'll just shut up.
It's falling apart.
Siri's getting involved in the whole pod. It's like,
So he knows that way I haven't got enough time for me to go off.
The podcast on crutches. But no, I agree, XFL.
No, yeah, we'll just say XFL before I go on.
Jared Goff, quarterback, XFL.
What do you think, Siri?
I'm going to go for the next one, Green Bay. It's got to be GOAT. Surely it's got to be GOAT.
Green Bay. Yeah, go.
Cheeseheads.
Yeah,
I don't get that bit. I don't know.
I think it's to do with, from what I know, it's to do with the fact they all wear yellow helmets. And I did Google it ages ago, and it must have been that important that I forgot about it. But yeah, I think it was a nickname just because of the yellow helmets, and then cheeseheads, and then they all start on
I just
cheese.
think with the fact
I don't think it's got anything to do with a cheese factory.
No. I think it's the fact they still got Aaron Rodgers.
It's not Philadelphia.
The fact they still got Aaron Rodgers. The fact you've got.
I remember that actually. Sorry, I'm just butting in here. The Philly fans, when they played Green Bay, like a year ago, they all put Philadelphia tubs on their heads, like frame ones. They called themselves cheeseheads. But they all walking around with like basically
Tubs of Philly.
It was shoe boxes that had been. I'm going to Google this right now. I'm going to show you guys what I mean.
Well, it had been coloured and painted into a Philadelphia tub.
Eagles hats. Is that a geek? No, that's definitely not something.
I mean, while Chris is searching for that, George,
There we go. Look, so there was I wish this was you guys could see this.
What we're going to do, we're going to post this onto Instagram.
So there is an Aaron Rodgers fan with a cheese head on, and then behind there's a bloke with what looks to be a tin foil wrapped box and Philadelphia cream cheese on it. What a bloke!
We will save this picture and we'll post it on Instagram.
Oh, there's more.
It will be you can get involved.
There's a shoebox.
A shoebox with a Philadelphia logo.
Yeah.
Right, now we've gone off on Philadelphia cheese. Yeah.
Some good cheese. Anyway, moving on. Where were we? I completely butted in there without facts about cream cheese.
The Green Bay Packers. Where would you put them on our list?
Goat tier.
Yeah, goat
tier. It's got to be.
Yeah.
They did.
Purely just.
We apologise how boring this is. The fact that we are all agreeing.
This is cracking.
I just mean the fact we're all agreeing and anything else.
Oh yeah. Oh, wow, there's an actual hat made of cheese here.
Jesus, Chris, please get off of the internet.
Yeah, sorry.
Next team.
Right, next team.
LA of the Rams. I think they must have to drop down a tier just for the horrendous atrocity of their Microsoft Word lookalike logo.
But then they also go up a tier because they traded away from that absolute spanner of Jared Goff.
Okay, so they stay where we put them then, right?
Matt Stafford, who's actually half decent.
I'm sorry, just look
in comparison. No, it is awful.
Look at it!
It is awful.
If you are over the age of 14, you can do better than that.
Yeah.
How much money do you think they've paid someone to design their logo?
Far too much.
Don't get me wrong.
A lot of money.
New stadium, really, really nice. Big fan. Big fan.
SoFi Stadium. It's gorgeous.
Nice, yeah.
But God, that's. But I mean, as a whole,
you think I'd say the two teams that share that stadium, one's a Microsoft Word lookalike, and one's a lightning bolt.
But I kind of get where they're going. They're trying to combine the Ram horn with basically the sunshine of being the sunshine.
They just didn't change it. I didn't think like the Ram they had last year was the year before was all right. I thought.
I mean, to be fair, for me, into the tier list, pushing the leaders. I think they've got a solid team. I think they're very good. I think they've.
Yeah. I think their defense more than anything.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've acquired a half decent QB now finally. You know, but yeah, the defensive side of the ball makes them push the leaders.
I think because of where we've got people, they are. I'm going to put them
pushing
prior to Arizona Cardinals because I think they're better. I don't know how you agree. Whether you agree or disagree.
No.
Do you disagree?
I disagree. I do disagree. I think the Arizona Cardinals now are a better armed side.
Potentially or proven?
I think even proven. I mean, I'd rather have Kyler Murray and like D-Hop and just that team. Yeah, I think I'd put Arizona.
Pushing the leaders, but Arizona ahead.
Arizona ahead for me. I think unless LA do something quite dramatic in this season or potentially next season, I think their head coach is on the line. Generally, I think that's probably a bit of on a limb here, but
pushing
McVay. I think McVay is probably gonna, if he doesn't get a Super Bowl, like think about the amount of money that's been pumped into that team.
Yeah.
Not so much the team, but like the moving to LA from St. Louis.
I think we'll see him as a coach throws more now. He's actually got a QB that I think he'll like. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest, there's no hidden secrets that him and Goff hated each other. And you can't blame him. I'd hate Jared Goff as my QB. He was just pussyfoot around making plays or decision making. Now they've got Matt Stafford, who seems like an actual good quarterback.
Yeah, I rate Matt Stafford. So
I think pushing the leaders. They would have been down for me XFL minus XFL with Jared Goff at the helm, but they've traded away from him and gone up to Matt Stafford. So yeah,
just as a disclaimer here, if you think we've skipped a letter. Dallas Cowboys will be last purely because they are Georgia's teams. We're going to save them till the end.
The best or last, as they say.
I think this one will be interesting. I think this one will be the one where there may be a disagreement. Minnesota Vikings.
XFL.
Yeah,
you take Devontae Cook out of that team, they are absolute garbage for me. They are. They really are. They do nothing. What did they finish last year? I don't think it was anything to write home about.
Oh, see, you know what?
Thielen's good, but there's no guarantee he'll be there. I can't really think of it. They got Justin Jefferson, rookie, who, to be fair to him, had a very good year, rookie season. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't think they are quite Panthers Lions territory. I think they're meh. I think there's Chris, what do you think?
With George on this one. I think they're XFL. I would have loved to have actually given them a bit more and said they're meh.
The upper echelons of XFL or basement?
Yeah, the upper echelons of XFL. They're not basement. They're not like
they're playoff positions. If any English players fans listening.
Yeah, I think they're in the upper echelons. I'd love to, like I said, I would love to give them that meh status, but
they're just not good enough for me.
It's not good right now. I can't. QB's crap. It's just. I mean, there's nothing going on either. I don't look at them and think...
Rudolph, I don't think left tight end wise, he's gone as well. Yeah, and he was another weapon.
I just don't think they're not even building. For me, I mean, I could be wrong. I could not read enough into the Vikings, but there's teams that are a bit shit. But I think to myself, a bit like
at least they're trying.
Miami have been, they're building. Like I think it was the year before, and they just basically shifted everyone out and then gained a ton of picks, and everyone was like, what are they doing? And now we're sat here thinking, actually even praising how well because they've got so many picks, and they're building a squad. I can't see that with Minnesota. I really can't.
No, I can't.
Love their stadium, don't get me wrong, but I think there's a lot of nice stadiums out there, but
there is.
Their stadium is awesome. I don't quite understand the whole skull thing when they do that. Yeah, ethos, yes.
Yeah, the ethos,
but the whole where they do the skull was a bit, it's a bit weird.
Losing Stephon Diggs was huge for them.
I think that was a big drop, and they've never replaced him. I think that's the thing.
Obviously, Justin Jefferson potentially has the ability to be the next Stephon Diggs, but like I said, the thing
is,
season.
What they've done at the same time is they've brought him in now. It's almost too late. They've brought him in now as they're potentially about to lose the other threat in Adam Thielen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they've already lost one in Rudolph as a tight end.
Mm.
They're going to go back to one threat rather than having a multifaceted attack, and especially if Dalvin Cook comes to him.
Yeah, they're going to rely on run because let's be honest, he had a monster year last year.
Yeah,
him personally, stat wise, was a joke, but other than that, I don't know, not for me.
New Orleans Saints.
Oh,
I mean, every year you're going to say GOAT, and then
I disagree with that. I do.
Really, I'm with him on that.
If we talk about individual players for Drew Brees, yes, but I don't know. I just think they always just fall at the last, not even the last hurdle.
I think I'm looking at this as a whole franchise thing. Like, so as you say, Drew Brees, yes, Kamara,
they've got some absolute weapons. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel like Thomas, whenever I watch them post season, obviously they always smash the league, their division. They always do that because it's not potentially that many harder teams.
It's not very good. It's
No,
not-
exactly.
It's
So
not hard work.
exactly. It's like work
Driving
almost.
past the Superdome, though, it's phenomenal.
Oh, I can imagine. The
Big,
stadium looks
You've
crazy
done the
good.
same, haven't you? And the drivers, as you come in, and you can only explain it it's so much. You come over this huge, massive bridge driving into New Orleans, first of all, and then you kind of come into the city, and it's this big gridlock, and it's almost spaghetti junction, like for UK people. And then you come round what can only be described as this landmass.
Golden
that is
landmass.
Yeah, it is golden, silver landmass that is a huge sponsored Mercedes-Benz symbol. And the Superdome just sits there, and you can't help but see it for miles.
I came in at night.
Yeah.
So it was, and they had all the multicoloured lights on it.
Yeah.
And we're just looking out the window and thinking, oh my word, like
That is huge.
That is something. Like I'd seen it on the telly, and then seeing it there, I was like, wow, yeah, no, I'm with you on that. It's
And
unbelievable.
I think for me, the reason I say GOAT is because, particularly where we're at, they're not pushing the leaders. As you say, they're always going to win a division. They are the leaders. No, I'm not saying being a division leader is the only reason to put them GOAT. But their franchise, their history, and the players that they attract just because of who they are, I think pushes them up the tier list to the top.
Yeah, no. For me,
And obviously I know we're going on now, but with Drew Brees retiring, that their head coach come out and said that there's going to be a fight for QB1. Oh, let's be honest, two garbage QBs. You've gone from Drew Brees, who second to Tom Brady, to Jameis Winston, who is something of nothing, and Taysom Hill, who I think even though he wants to be a QB, well, he says he wants to be a QB. You watch him, and when
Versatile.
when you watch him, when Drew Brees was injured last year, and they played him instead of Jameis Winston, you almost didn't want to be the QB. It was weird. He didn't want to throw the ball. He almost like you say, Reece, he almost likes being a player that has no sort of position.
Yeah, he's the utility man, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's someone of all trades who can fill in when needed, but he's not.
And that's why I think they'll play Jameis Winston, which would instantly make them worse.
well, for me, I'm with reason that I want to put him as GOAT. I got pretty much all the same opinions as Reece on it.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not putting him anywhere near Green Bay.
It'll be interesting to see what happens this year. It really
I
will.
think this year will be a big thing, and I think that's the thing is that they're also on. I'd like to see what they do in the draft. Now I know they say they've got 2 QBs. However,
And if we're going on everything, their sort of cap situation is
it's
junk
dire
as well.
Yeah, it
Like,
is. I mean, they've made a
They're
few.
garbage for the next few years, really. Obviously, I know it's going to take a little bit less off with Drew Brees retiring, but even still, it's still I don't know.
Wow, that was I think that was more interesting than I thought it was going to be for the Saints.
Yeah, definitely.
New York Giants.
Oh, New York Giants. Probably another UK favourite for a lot of people, New York Giants. Is that the city you go to is like, if everyone goes, I've been to America, where have you been? Oh, New York. It's like, we talk to Americans, they go, yeah, where you been? London. And for that, there's a lot of New York Giants fans in this country.
And I mean, to be fair to them, they've picked the better of 2 teams, I believe, for the city.
I mean, it's not hard, is it?
It's not hard. I mean, it's not great choices.
No.
Not great
the fact
choices
that,
at all.
well, the fact they share the stadium, I struggle with that. I really do.
I've never got teams sharing stadiums. Even in football, with like AC Milan, Inter Milan. And you say, the sofa stadium, I don't understand it.
They just changed the colours of the lights and then changed like the
seating or like a couple of like.
Well, the seating stays the same. They changed the colour of
Oh,
the
it's
light.
neutral colour though. It's not like blue
it's
or
like
green.
grey.
Yeah.
And then they just changed like the flags outside on the lampposts outside.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, I couldn't do that.
Cheap almost, I think.
I mean, I think this is a bit more of a British or English mentality. Is if you've got 2 teams in the city, that's rivalry.
Yeah.
Right.
And it becomes hatred.
It becomes hatred.
Yeah.
And I couldn't then think to myself, well, I'm then going to share the stadium because it's your because your stadium is your palace, it's your home.
Yeah,
for us, I could not imagine having every other weekend City playing at Old Trafford. The same way you could not imagine having Everton playing at Anfield.
It's like
Imagine
if you have a
kill
season ticket holder, obviously in English football we do, like if you had a season ticket for your certain seat.
Your seat's your seat.
Yeah, your seat's your seat,
You're
but
not
then
sharing
your rival fan has a season ticket for the same seat, so he calls it his or she calls it her seat. Like for me, that's
It's
not
just
alright.
strange. Yeah.
Is it where? I don't even know where is it. Is it on the island? Is it in Manhattan or is it like?
I think it's New Jersey.
I think it is New Jersey.
MetLife's in New Jersey.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. But I know. I know Manhattan's cramped. You're not going to get a stadium on Manhattan.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. All right, they've got a baseball stadium that's been there since the dawn of time. in like the Yankees and that, and then they've got one in like Brooklyn. But that's what I mean. Like you've got Brooklyn, you've got New Jersey.
But
You can still
You've got areas.
You've got areas
You've
that
got
you can
space.
build.
But to
Yeah,
be
you
fair,
can.
you have. However, the ones they've got, say, barring the baseball team, they say it's been there since probably New York itself started to be built as a central hub. The entertainment arenas they've got, Brooklyn Centre, MSG, they're all enclosed. Now I know you can have things like Superdome, which are enclosed as well, but that's a huge landmass. We've been to MSG to watch basketball.
But then you think, with going to basketball, the New York Knicks are MSG and the Brooklyn Nets are in Brooklyn. They have they're the same city, but they have two different stadiums.
I think that's because the stadiums or the courts, they're a lot smaller. You know, you're
Well,
talking,
yeah, no, I get
you're
that,
talking
yeah.
something that holds maybe 10, 15,000 people compared to something that's going to hold 50, 60,000 plus.
And obviously, MSG's been there since New York's been built.
Again,
It's
yeah.
one of those things that it was there already.
Yeah.
But-
The Barclays Centre in Brooklyn is something different, but again, having something indoor. But yeah, I completely agree. Our Sheraton Stadium's not there, but
Going back to
for
sort of
back to
tier
it,
list,
yeah.
yeah. To
I
go back to it.
went on one there.
I am.
What are you saying, Miss?
I don't know. Do you know? I'm again. It's very easy. Bottom two. I'm thinking XFL. They don't do it for me. They really don't.
There's a divisional rival for me. They're XFL, but they've got some. It pains me to say they've got some weapons. Like, I'm a big fan of Saquon Barkley. I know we got a horrible injury last season and put him out for the year. Like we were saying earlier, Chris. Like, I'm a fan of the QB Jones. Like, I think it's not obviously nowhere near as good, but a sort of a carbon copy in a sense of Peyton Manning, Eli Manning. Beg pardon. So they've got, and obviously they've got Kenny G now. So they've got some players, but I don't know. Yeah,
I think they push Met again. I think for them it comes to consistency, and there isn't any of it within them.
Don't get me wrong. Our division last year was absolute garbage. It was absolute pants, wasn't it? Like, every team was terrible in it last year.
Yeah,
So
it
anyone
was
could
the
have
only
gone through.
division where I think was it negative.
I think everyone got under 500. I don't think, like, it was-
Everyone was negative.
Where's it
It
for you,
wasn't good.
Jonesy? What are you saying? Because you've got the side on here. I think I'm gonna.
I'm
I think I'm calling.
I'm gonna go with Meh.
I think I'm calling Meh. I don't think they're quite XFL.
They've got some players. I'll give them that. They've got some players.
Yeah, I think it's the thing, and it's players like Saquon Barkley that
Yeah.
they have got weapons and they
Kenny
have
G, that's a big signing for them.
It is something that's different, and it's just their QB situation worries me, but it's something to be seen.
See, it doesn't worry me that much actually. I disagree. I think the reason they're Meh for me is the fact that I actually think Daniel Jones is a bit of an untapped. I think he's still, yes, he's not dynamic. He's not quite. He's not like Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson,
But no
Josh
one's going to
Allen.
be, are they?
No one's gonna be. He is your more traditional quarterback, and like I said earlier, he's like your Eli Manning mould. And I think just give him a little bit of time. He might be boring to watch, but I think he's going to have an arm. I really do, and he is actually surprisingly quick. He might not be very agile because he's quite a big guy, but he is fast. So in this modern sort of quarterback
Well, it
world,
goes back to the last season sorry to interrupt that, when he was doing that run, and he got all the way, I think, to like the 5-10 yard line, and he tripped. Like, he was showing some speed. Like, he put the afterburners on.
Afterburners came
and
right
then he
on.
just tripped over his own feet.
Yeah.
Bless him.
Yeah. So for me, they're Meh. I don't feel like I can put them in XFL just for that reason of Daniel Jones.
The Eagles.
Well, we know where they're going to go for me. XFL. Let's move on.
Fly Eagle.
Seahawks.
Yes, I Seahawks. Fly Eagles fly.
I mean, the irony.
Any other reason?
I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, but I'm a big basketball fan, and I'm sat here currently with a Philadelphia 76ers hoodie on. So my football team is Dallas, and my basketball team is Philly. But in regards to the Eagles, I despise them. I despise them. I don't like them at all.
Putting your rivalry aside, is there anything you actually like about them? Is there anything you could say?
To be fair,
I'm with that.
okay. I'm a fan of Jalen Hurts. I am. I think he has the ability and the potential to be good.
A lot, yeah.
He has, and I will say that I do rate him. Other than that, I wasn't a fan of Carson Wentz. I never have been. I thought Nick Foles, as much as we talked about him a bit before, obviously that year they won the Super Bowl, unsung hero. Wentz comes back next year, he gets benched straight away. Unfairly treated, I thought, in regards to he won the Super Bowl. So just the way it's run, other than Jalen Hurts now, for me, they don't really have that many weapons at all.
For me, they are Meh.
Hurts is going.
I'm putting them in Meh. I like Jalen Hurts. I really do like him. I think he's going to do some stuff for them. This is, you know what I find surprising. Like I think we've all got sort of the same opinion in where they are in sort of the tier, really. Apart from obviously you want to put them in XFL, but So for me, they're meh. But what I'm saying is surprising is the fact that this is a team that won the Super Bowl
Not that long ago.
Yeah. But I just think since then they've lost a lot of the players that got them there, and they're just. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really like the fans that much either. You know, being a Ravens fan, sort of that neck of the woods, I just find their fans a bit weird and obnoxious. But yeah, no, for me, coming down to the team, it's meh.
I think I agree with you, George. To be fair, for me,
get them in the XFL.
I think they're XFL. My only reason being is,
God, you guys are harsh.
It is, but do you know what? I just find them.
This is a team that won the Super Bowl.
But this is my thing, right? Now you take a Super Bowl team, and we're going to come to another one that I think is going to be
3 years ago.
Going to be dropping towards not XFL, but be dropping down in the 49ers. But they're teams who have had big opportunity and had reached the pinnacle, and could have grown on it
and just fallen
and built. Off. And yeah, they've just base jumped 3-4.
You look at the Pats. Pats. Obviously, they had Tom Brady, but they
built a legacy
year after year. They were there. They won. They lost, but they were always losing in the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Like the Chiefs with Pat Mahomes. Okay, they won it, and then they got to the final again. They got to the Super Bowl and lost. Okay, they lost, but you know what I'm saying? Like
they've built a legacy, and they've built consistent. And the Eagles just consistently inconsistent, and they're consistently poor when they are consistent.
I will put it out there. I know they want the sort of not backtracking in any way, but yes, they won. As I say, they won the Super Bowl deservedly. However, was it a bit of a fluke?
Yeah,
100%.
To be fair, I think with
everyone. Go on, you finish, Reece.
It's with every cup final, with every final game, with everything like that, there's a bit of luck involved. I think with them, they had heaps of it. I don't think, as George has probably said 2 or 3 times with the QB situation, it was one of those where anything could have happened, and what did happen was great, and completely disrespected him as a franchise therefore after. I know you know what they had in Carson Wentz was someone there to trust in, but the disrespect I think shown. And yeah, you know, for me, they just do nothing for me. I think that's the thing. I don't sit there if I'm watching Red Zone or sit there and something about the Eagles come on, I'll happily just look away. They're not a team that excite me. You know, for me, like seeing in comparison to someone in the XFL we put here like the Panthers, I get excited if I see Teddy Bridgewater come on the TV. I think something might just about happen. Whereas the Eagles, I'm like, no, I don't really care.
I think for me, the only thing, this is putting my bias aside, the only thing they've got for me personally going for them at the minute is Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
personally.
The next one, Seahawks, Russ Wilson.
Offensively good, defensively terrible.
Their offensive line, man, like poor Russ Wilson has been absolutely battered.
I don't know how he's not been like ruled out for like a good amount of weeks. The amount of time he gets hit.
For me, they're pushing leaders. They're not GOAT status. They've got very good individuals, and they've got certain areas that are very strong. But if you're putting off against either of these two, no.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Pushing the leaders. I know this was a team that was so close to a Super Bowl against Patriots on that world famous should have run it, not thrown it issue. But yeah, for me, they're pushing the leaders. I like them. Again, they've got quite a big following in this country. I think it does, bizarrely enough, come down to its kit.
If they're going on kit, they're going on GOAT.
Yeah, that's a GOAT kit right there. They have got a big following here. A lot of people I've spoken to in the past. Obviously, it's gone, bizarrely enough, it's gone a bit quieter. Since they've not been quite as prolific in the league. But a lot of people did used to be, I'm a Seahawks fan. Oh, you know, okay. But yeah, no, I think they are a good side. Russell Wilson is a very good quarterback. Give him some more protection. I think he's almost there. I feel bad for Russell Wilson. He's always there, isn't he? He's almost there.
Yeah.
But it's like those gridiron videos where he's like, I'm so consistent, and then it's like just someone just completely floors him.
He's never quite crossing the line, is he? And it is that he can get you there, but he's almost missing that magic spark.
He needs something else. I look back to last year when they played the LA Rams, and as much as people will say, "Oh, Jared Goff had a bad thumb," and he still beat, it's just their defense crumbled the Seahawks. Like I said a minute ago, I don't know how Russ Wilson did go off injured. The amount of times Aaron Donald got to him and just the whole defensive line got to him, I was like, Christ, this could be. It was just frightening to see. They're just, if they sort their O-line out, they're a good team. For me, they're GOAT, but they just haven't sorted it out. It doesn't seem like they're trying to.
Yeah, I think they're a GOAT team if they can sort out their inconsistencies.
Yeah,
but there's so many of them.
It's more defensively than anything else.
Yeah.
Really, they've got some good defensive players, but all in all, in regards to protecting the quarterback, who's the most important player, they're not very good at it. They suck at it. So ultimately.
You agree with that? Or
No, I'm agreeing.
Yeah, we're all in agreement. Pushing the leaders.
On to the 49ers.
Oh,
for me,
that's changed in the last 2 years.
They fall from grace.
For me, they're meh. For almost the same reason as the Eagles, where they had such an opportunity to grow and develop and build. And I know they were hit with a lot of injuries last year. They had a lot of bad, serious injuries last year. But yeah, I just don't see. I wouldn't consider them as pushing any leaders, and they're not horrendous. You know, they're not on Vikings or any level of that. But they're a meh team. Even when they got to the Super Bowl,
I thought Super Bowl year they were so good defensively as well, more than anything.
Yeah,
they were so good.
We've all had the discussion about Jimmy G.
I'm not a big fan. I don't rate Jimmy G at all.
Great looking man.
Oh yeah,
6 man.
In regards
Jimmy
to
G,
the kind of
star.
QB that it is, you're like, yeah, Jimmy G's the one.
Great looking man, but lacks that certain edge.
And it comes down to the thing of now you know, and now you've seen. Don't get me wrong, he's not a terrible quarterback, and I do believe in him in the sense of he can lead a QB and be a QB franchise and be a QB1.
He's definitely.
But it goes back to, I know again he was behind the greatest ever in TB, but it kind of, you look at it now and you're like, oh, that's why they didn't play him. Even when the game was done, they didn't really ever show that much faith in
Bill Belichick knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
he
and obviously there was a reason for him not playing, even really more than, like say,
getting a few snaps. And
half the time the games were done, like mid-third, fourth quarter. You're like, okay, we'll rest TB now. We'll put Jimmy G in. They didn't even really do that much. Yeah. And I was just thinking that for me was a big red flag in itself.
They've got, and I think I see them as a team. They've got a good team, but you know that kind of that star, that sparkle, that something flammable that's going to give them a huge kick. Don't really see that.
Them losing. No, they didn't even lose. Let's say them winning the Super Bowl. I was like, you know what? Like we said earlier, I was like, these could be trouble for the next few years. But they just weren't.
They lost the Super Bowl, didn't they?
Oh no, they lost. Yeah,
they lost the Chiefs, and they lost in like the end of the third quarter.
Yeah, they lost the Chiefs, but then they just never got back to it. No. That for me, them losing there was the biggest confidence knock ever, and I think it was so. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, they had huge injuries this year, and it was unfortunate. Well, the season just gone. It was unfortunate they lost Jimmy G. They lost a few of their key defensive players, and obviously it did screw their season. But even still, like, I don't really feel like they put a fight up. But every time I was watching Red Zone, it would go to San Fran. And I'd be like, God, these are garbage. They haven't lost their whole team. They've lost a couple of good players. But I just think, for me, it's...
For you?
For me,
meh.
You're saying meh. What are you saying?
I said meh.
For me, I'm saying pushing the leaders.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think they might be quite exciting right now. I think I agree with you on the whole Red Zone thing. Ugh. But I still think they're a strong franchise. I think they've got... I'm still strong behind Jimmy G. I think he's a very good quarterback. And they have got some good players. They've got some good, offensive players. So for me, I'm actually going to put them as pushing the leaders. Definitely. I just think they have got a bit more than what you're giving them, really. But so you two both say they're meh. So meh they are.
Coming up to final two before the big Dallas Cowboy reveal, but the Bucks. Now this is one that's gonna. So first, straight out of the gates, they are not GOAT. Right? They've won the Super Bowl and they have the GOAT, but them as a franchise, not GOAT.
Them as a franchise, or them as a team now. That is a GOAT team right now.
Yeah. You look all over the field there, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah,
GOAT.
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
As a franchise, like you rewind the clock's just only like a year or two, and they're just absolute garbage.
Yeah.
The last couple of years for me, last year especially, I'd put them on the same as Green Bay. I know they ended up winning the Super Bowl, but you think Green Bay, okay, we've put them in the GOAT category, but they've got Aaron Rodgers, they've got the running back, they've got a wide receiver. That's kind of it, really. Then you think of Tampa Bay, they've got TB, they've got they've got Gronk, they had AB. They've got Goodwin. They've got Chris Evans. You can name a good 5-6. Fournette if he stays and signs another. Like they've got some 5-6 notable good players, and you're a bit like, if we're putting Green Bay in GOAT, we have to put the Bucks in GOAT.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of not stitch ourselves, but in the term of GOAT, they're not GOAT because they've only done it once, and that's 1 year.
Of course,
They've got no. I mean, they have got history back in the 80s, but I wouldn't cast them as GOAT. However, with the team they've got now and what they managed to do against a team that I think everyone had favourites to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, hands down.
For me, I'm putting them as GOAT. I can't not put them GOAT. I think it would be an insult to put them as pushing the leaders because they're not pushing anyone. They're now the team to beat. So we sort of put it in there, Reece. You were going to say.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with what you said, even though what I said not before. The team they've got now, and the team they've compiled, and the team they've won the Super Bowl with, I mean, they have the GOAT full stop. And they're the best of the current time. That's the reason why they've won the Lombardi. But, it's that, as you say, go back prior to last year. Prior to the Brady announcement last year, they're meh at best, and that's just the.
For me,
I know they've made that huge jump, and it's because of the money that's been put in and the players they've got and the work that's been put in.
Yeah, I agree.
And they've gone and done that, but I respect them being in GOAT because you say they're not pushing these. They are the leader. They're the forefront. They're the current champions. But
I get you
when I see then we've got the Seahawks in pushing the leaders.
Then I also think I think they had the good players, but they just didn't have the good QB. They had James Winston who threw 30 picks in 1 year. Like they had Chris Goodwin, they had Chris they had the players they have now. Obviously they didn't have Gronk and AB and Fournette and things like that. But then they've got Brady. I didn't even if the Bucks didn't sign Gronk and the players I've just named, I still think they would have made a good push. They may have not won, but I still think they would have got to the Super Bowl.
I completely get where you're coming from, Reece. I mean, it's when you're looking at the tier list, you think, oh wow, we've got New Orleans and Green Bay is GOAT. Yeah, fair enough. And then you got Tampa Bay, and you think, oh god, is that just us?
No, yeah, I agree. I do agree.
They've won a Super Bowl. We're putting them in GOAT because they've won a Super Bowl. I get you, but then at the same time,
we've got the Eagles who've won a Super Bowl in XFL. 4 years ago.
Yeah, it is a tough one. I mean, like you say, if you rewound the clocks to a year, or even a year ago, but even before, 2 years ago, technically.
Well, to be fair, even a year ago, because the position we're sat in now,
they wouldn't.
I don't care whatever you say. The fact they've signed Tom Brady, they're not winning the Super Bowl when we're sat here talking this time last year. They're pushing.
I think it'll be interesting to see this time next year.
To be fair, I remember when they signed Tom Brady, and all the bookies were saying, it was like, special odds for Tampa Bay to win the Super Bowl. When I sat there, I think I might have even sat next to you at the time. I'm thinking, just because I got Tom Brady doesn't mean they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, I think we had the conversation when we were like, Tom Brady, because I remember saying, as much as they finished, I think it was 12-4 his last season at the Pats, I was a bit like, he's past it. Yeah, don't get me wrong. As much as they finished positive 12-4, it's not terrible. But they lost to the Titans, comfortably lost to the Titans, and I was a bit like,
his last play as a Pat was a pick six.
Pick six. I was like, well, he didn't. The whole year, I don't think he looked great. TB, I was a bit like, not for me anymore. I think he's past it.
Postseason game and he smashed it.
He's done a Peyton Manning.
He has. Like the similarities are scary. Scary.
Left his, his franchise, his home. gone to another franchise. However, obviously the difference with Peyton Manning is once he won the Super Bowl, he then just retired. But yeah, it's
went for a payday. I don't care what anyone says. They went for a payday.
Yeah.
They bit off more they can chew in the sense of, oh Christ, we're actually going on a Super Bowl win here, a run here. Oh, we've won it. Good.
Yeah.
I've got another ring.
Yeah, the Denver Broncos. You look at them now, and if you said to me, Denver Broncos to win the Super Bowl, I'd be like, no.
I think if we knew each other at the time, Jonesy, I reckon we would have even had the same conversation with Peyton Manning. We'd be like, just because I got Peyton Manning doesn't mean they're going to win the Super Bowl. And look what happened. Mm-hmm. So it's crazy how similar that was. Like we said it in the last podcast. But yeah.
I think I would happily keep them in GOAT just because of obviously. If there was an in between,
they'd be in between for me. I get what you're saying, and I do agree with a lot of what you said, Reece. Post this year, probably garbage, probably meh at best, like you say, but. I just think with the players that they have done, the business that they've done, and obviously ended up inevitably winning the Super Bowl, I just think if we're going on current, they deserve GOAT.
Yeah, no, I can't argue with GOAT. It's almost that thing of the Bucks. You know, I sit there thinking, 10 years time, are we going to be sat here and saying
one of the
Bucks are greatest franchise?
Are the greatest franchise of all time?
I don't think so.
No, I do agree with you there.
But that leads us on to what feels like a refreshed franchise in the football team.
The football
team, Washington.
God, they've got to get a name, haven't they?
They've got to get something sorted because it's just pathetic.
I don't think they will. I think they'll stick with that.
Do you think they will?
So they've shredded the Redskins team. That's been gone, and now they've just seemed to be a lot better. They seem to be better. Do you not think? Like you said, it was almost refreshed. They've got all right, we've got a new name. Let's just kind of start again.
I think for me they're meh. I don't think they're XFL. They won the...
Yeah, they did.
Division.
It makes you laugh because they're garbage, but then they won our division.
So
you can't...
I think...
It's a hard one. Like, that just shows how bad...
For me, I just find them another boring team. No, I mean...
Washington never win them.
Everyone was behind them for a stage of the season because of Alex Smith.
Yeah, well, it was a player more than the team.
And it was a player which led to the team, but yeah, for me they're meh. They're just boring.
For me, they're XFL, mate.
Yeah.
100%. I think every year, apart from this year, just the only reason they won the division this year is because every other team was garbage more than them.
Garbage.
Yeah, like then you go any other year, including next year, the other teams, whether it be us, the Eagles, or the Giants, they won't be as the division won't be as bad as it was this year. And the Washington football team always it just rolls off the tongue easier. Washington always either second bottom or bottom, like most years, and I just think for me, if we're putting the Eagles in XFL,
they're gonna get in XFL. I mean,
like, putting the Giants at meh is for me. I think
I just don't know. I just find Washington so boring to watch.
Yeah,
they're
a nothing franchise.
I don't like the way they treated Alex Smith, and I mean, obviously they kept him on, but now the fact they got rid of him. Don't get me wrong. All right, he might not be quite the same as he used to be, but
who is going to be?
I mean, who is going to be after what he went
nearly
through?
Nearly dying.
Yeah, don't like that. Don't get me wrong. I was saying earlier about Fitzmagic going there and how excited I was for that, and I think that's very exciting for them, but.
They're not a Super Bowl contender.
A bit like you were saying with San Francisco. For me, clicking on Washington on Red Zone is just like, oh god, this is boring.
Yeah, it is.
I can't be.
Don't get me wrong. They've got Chase Young now, who's an animal, an absolute animal.
Yeah.
Like going number 2 in the
draft. He's the only player that I want to watch.
Yeah, he's the only one in that team that will get you a bit like, you know what, that's.
Other than Fitzmagic.
Fitzmagic now.
I'm gonna watch it now just for Fitzmagic. I want to see him turn up in an open neck shirt with some gold chains and a hairy chest. That's what I want to see. That gets me going on a Sunday afternoon.
But yeah, Chase Young, absolute animal. Any team in the NFL would have him in their team, 100%, hands down. Don't care what anyone says. But other than that, for me, nah.
So
garbage.
To finalise and to finish off, because we've gone on for very long.
We've done alright this time, haven't we? Look at this. We're currently
a hefty listen for you guys now.
We're currently rocking at 1 hour and 52 minutes.
You guys are going to be here with a split in the middle. You're going to be like, well, I need to time out. Hopefully we've not bored you too much. But
your poor ears.
I've enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. The Dallas Cowboys.
Well, I'll let you two go first.
No, you can far away because you're inadvertently going to say GOAT. So
he's not though. He's going to be good. He's going to take it for the team, and sit back, be lateral. Think.
Take your rose tinted glasses off. Okay. Dallas Cowboys.
All right. If I'm being completely honest, if we're basing, I know we haven't. We've been basing it in general. But if we're basing it on last year, we deserve XFL because we were garbage. Every team in our division deserved XFL last year. They do. It wasn't even almost. It was just a laughing stock of the league. Everyone would look at that division, but Christ, like I think the division leader changed about God knows how many times. But again, it's going to sound very biased being a Dallas fan. But if you look at our roster and in comparison to every other team in the league, we are miles better. We just are the players that we've got. Okay, again, you can have an argument. We were crap last year, but just the players we've got. Sort our defence out, which we seem to be doing. We're signing a lot of sort of good defensive players to sort of coincide with our attacking players. Obviously, signing Dak, things like that. Him coming back fully fit next year. Pushing the leaders for me. Because, for me, I think next year we're going to win. We're going to win the division.
It shouldn't be hard, though.
Well, no, exactly, but comfortably.
That's not a challenge.
No,
I
but
got Ryan Fitzpatrick. What are you saying?
Yeah, but the thing is that in regards to like how bad we were last year, I know we had obviously Dak out injured, so but then we can't keep saying that as an excuse. Like I know it was a big part. Team, I know it was a big part, and QB's the most important player of any team. But yeah, I just think with him back next year, with the weapons that we've got,
should be pushing the leaders.
Yeah, for me personally, I'll push the leader.
I agree that they should be pushing the leaders. However, I don't think they're XFL. They're the best of a bad bunch. But there's you're right. There's some big players in there. I just don't see them as a complete team. I think they should be pushing the leaders and taking the whole picture of what the Cowboys have been and should be and could be. Pushing leaders 100%. However, from where you actually are, where the team is, I think Meh is a fair place.
Decided factor, Jonesy. Always liked you as a mate. Put him in Meh with it, mate.
Where am I putting the Cowboys?
I think it's because I also don't see them pushing. They'll make the playoffs this year, I'd imagine, because they should win their division. I don't think they do much else after that.
The way I see this. Okay, so the way I see the team, I see them in a position on that board, but the way I see how their results are going to be next year and where they're going to be next year, it puts them in another category. All right. So the way I see it is for the team they've got and who they are, I put them as meh. All right. That's where I put them. But you're right, Ampo, in saying that in the team that they in the sort of the awful division that they're in, and I'm saying I'm going to slag off the NFC here, but I generally think the AFC right now is a much stronger conference than the NFC. They're pushing the leaders because either they will be up there and they'll probably be in playoffs next year. 100% they'll be in playoffs, and I'll be sad not to see them in the playoffs because I think Dak Prescott deserves it, and I think they should be there. But to conclude, I'm going to put them in there. Just because I just think that if you put them against the Chiefs, you put them against the Titans, you put them against even someone like the Green Bay, you put them against the Ravens, you put them against the Bills, you put them against the Browns.
We'll see next season.
They're probably going to lose all of those.
I really don't. Let's not be embarrassed. I really don't think. Obviously, people like the Chiefs, most teams are going to lose to. I think they lost one game last year, and that was to the Raiders somehow. I think it was a fourth. I don't know, but yeah. Other than that, I think. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough if we're going in Meh, but I just think the teams that you just reeled off.
I agree with Meh and I agree exactly what you said. They should be pushing leaders. I hope they're pushing the leaders.
Yeah, I do.
And so that I almost going how last year when you can't guarantee anything. I'd like to say I'd guarantee a playoff position because they should be trouncing that division. They should be challenge.
If they're not in the playoffs next year, it'll be a
disaster.
It'll be an absolute disaster.
Yeah, and I'll hold my hands up and say if we don't win the division comfortably next year, it's a disaster year. Given no injuries like we had this year, it'll be a disaster.
I mean,
I'm that confident.
That's kind of rounded it off. So
yeah,
just to recap.
Yeah.
Green Bay, New Orleans Saints, Tampa Bay as GOATs. Pushing the leaders. Cardinals, Rams, Seahawks. Meh, the Falcons, the Bears, Giants, 49ers and the Cowboys. And the XFL is Vikings, Panthers, Lions, Eagles, and the Washington football team.
Wow.
It's been very interesting. Actually, I've really enjoyed the tier list.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It's like got proper.
I think we agreed on more than I probably thought we would have done.
Yeah, I think there was a few in there that, and it
Surprising,
wasn't even.
yeah.
It wasn't even the fact I think anything was a major debate. It was there were fair points for everything, and I think there's a few teams in there that could probably jump or drop very easily a position. But the tier list will be posted on Instagram a little bit after this actually goes live for you guys to hear, so that you've got a chance to listen before you see.
I feel like maybe do we do the AFC next time?
I think the AFC's got to be the next
It's got to
time.
be next time, isn't it?
Let us know if there's any other tier list you'd like us to see, whether it's a ranking of, say, 10 or 12 quarterbacks or positions or coaches or historic wins,
Fans.
matches. Yeah, it could be anything. And obviously
Jerseys.
let us know on the image.
That'd be a good one.
Tier list, yeah.
We just get some photos of jerseys.
Let us know on Instagram
can
what
I-
you think would be on this tier list where you think you'd make changes.
Can I just point out I deeply regret my decision of saying the New York Jets had the best jersey I've ever seen. Because when I thought about this after, I was thinking, why did I say that?
I was scratching my head for 2 days.
For 2 days, 2 days of work, 2 days of work, Chris is totally going, can't believe I said the Jets and their green is
Was the best kit I'd ever.
It's
Really
like,
wasn't.
I just
It
regret
looks like this Heineken can.
Yeah, that's the helmet.
It does, yeah.
That's why I liked it.
Beer on the brain.
I think we'll finish there, though, guys. It's
Yeah,
it's been a pleasure.
We
Been a long
have
one, but
just knocked over 2 hours.
2 hours.
2 hours.
That's a phenomenal session.
enjoyed that one a lot.
That was good.
It seems
very
to have flown past as well.
Yeah.
It's,
It doesn't feel 2 hours.
No.
Oh.
We appreciate you tuning in though.
If you've listened to the whole 2 hours, then we'll send you a certificate
Fair
and
play
a
to you.
golden bin.
Yeah, get a
We
golden
will,
bin in the
yeah,
post.
we will get you a golden bin if you can comment on our tier list. Kenny Golladay, number 1 wide receiver. That will show you've listened to the whole way to the end, and we will send you a golden bin.
We'll know that you listened.
We will give you a golden bin in honour of that man in there.
And make sure you share us. I feel like, I know we haven't really said this yet, but
We really do appreciate it, don't we?
We appreciate all the people that have listened. I think we've not actually mentioned it yet. We have clicked over, in terms of overall, for the 2 episodes we've done, over 100 listeners for 2 episodes, which for us is just
all around the world, which is a
bonkers
bit
numbers.
crazy for us, really. Like
We just thought we were going to get like our mum and dad.
3 mates just having a couple of beers, talking about the sport that we all love. Like that's just what that's what we will continue to see it as. Really, like it's just for us a nice sort of thing that we all sort of have a passion for and we just like to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, we really appreciate you.
John,
all
We've now got a platform to do it, and we're all enjoying it, and hopefully you guys are.
Yeah, that's the most important.
Of course, if you have any pointers or tips or anything you want us to talk about,
Yeah, let us know.
message us, let us know. We're here, we're always messaging and we're always
Like
posting.
you say, please share.
Let's just share.
Get us
Right.
out there.
Cool.
Stay
On
safe.
that note,
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Enjoy.
All the best.
I'll catch you in the next one.